Why has Triple H been so successful? Why is Triple H running WWE better than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard on Monday and Friday night? Long-term booking.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining us on this Thursday night. It is Thursday, January 25th, 2024. I am your host, JD from New York. As always, joined by my very good friend and co-host on Tuesday nights for Tuesday Night Titans, Mr. Andrew Baydala. What is going on, man?
JD.
What's going on, man?
Just another day, I guess, right?
That's just another day, man. You know, the one day, I'm at Stop and Shop. And I'm doing my errands. My phone rings, and then this guy.
If I call you in the middle of the day, you know it's bad.
I know. He calls me. He's like, "You see the Vince McMahon news?" And then he's describing this Vince McMahon news, and I just break out into laughter because I thought he was fucking trolling me with some of the things that we had uncovered today.
I wish I was.
And here we are, and we planned throughout the day to go maybe live on Saturday and get ready for the Royal Rumble and get you guys ready for that. And then he tells me, "Oh, we got to go live. I'm like, I don't want to go live. But here we are. We're live. And I guess we have to be live because of the severity of this situation, man. This is, you know what, man?
We've been on the air for like 16 seconds. You have 572 likes, and we have 3,000 people watching.
We got 3,000. I've developed the reputation on this platform that when something happens to Vince McMahon, people want to see me, rant and raise holy hell here.
And I'm not that guy.
No.
I don't come on here and talk about legalities and all that other stuff because realistically, like sometimes silence is better in this situation because you never really know. But I will tell you that a lot of your favorite podcasters, YouTubers, not Sean Ross Sapp. Me and Sean are good. Don't have the balls, nor do they have the intelligence to get on here and talk about this type of stuff. So we do.
Yeah. Well, and I want to make a statement before we even get into anything tonight. You guys know how I feel about the Vince McMahon thing. We have documented this thing. Drew hasn't been with me for that period. I mean, we've been at this thing for now 32 episodes. I'm considering this episode number 32 because of the severity of the issue. But when Vince was ousted from power and put out that statement and retired, you guys know me. I went over it all. I was on top of that like flies on shit. And I don't know the legalities of anything. I'm not fucking, in the legal field, or I don't know anything about any of this shit. I'm strictly a pro wrestling podcast that talks about creative, what we see on TV, where this should go, where that should go, who shouldn't be there, and who should be there. But,
Right, so that he laid that groundwork. So I'll just do our disclaimer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Myself and Jerry, Andrew Baydala, Jerry, also JD from NY, are two entertainment-based podcasters. The discussion we are going to have today is purely our opinion. The legal matters that are taking place with Vince McMahon and the defendants and or people who have been under allegations or will see allegations. Those documents are public. We will be reviewing those. Those are facts, but the opinions that we will give on said facts are just that. They are opinions. This is not a factual-based, evidence-breaking show. This is an opinion-based YouTube stream, which will be eventually a podcast and will be digested many different ways. But again, we are an opinion-based show, which means there's no legal ramifications because we are an opinion-based show. Now that we got that out of the way.
There you go. I've seen some people in the chat saying, is this the only topic we're going to talk about? No, I got some Royal Rumble stuff. Drew's got some exclusive Jade Cargill news that you're only going to get here. So I'm happy that he has come to the table with that. I feel very privileged and honored that he has that type of information for you guys here, being that he's got his people's But we'll get into that Royal Rumble stuff a little bit later, and we are going to start off with the Vince McMahon stuff, obviously. A Wall Street Journal article dropped this afternoon. Vince McMahon, Brock Lesnar not really named in the court documents that I had to rummage through today. Didn't really want to spend my Thursday afternoon doing that, but I spent a good portion of the day at least getting through at least 40 pages of the 60 plus of the court documents today. Brock Lesnar was named in social media aspect, but not in the articles. And this horrific abuse and sex trafficking allegation by the Wall Street Journal conveniently, Drew, just after, and I want to preface what we're going to talk about here with this, man. It seemingly looks like, it feels like every time we get a major happening, it's happened with AEW, it's happened with WWE, a major something happening for AEW, WWE, that something just horrific comes out, man. Some allegations, some fucking dirt, whatever the case may be. I just find it very funny how WWE announces Monday Night Raw going to Netflix for $5 billion, and then boom, we get this fucking news drop today.
Well, I will say this again. Myself and JD, this is an opinion-based show. We are going to speak on our opinions. These are not factual evidence that has been provided to us or presented to us. We are simply reading the court documents and or having a discussion, and we are giving our opinions. Now, that's the second disclaimer. There will be no others. This was not supposed to drop today. This news was supposed to come out a couple weeks from now. It seems as if it seems as if some things changed in some agreements that were made with some participants in those agreements, who I will not name due to legal matters that are ongoing.
Okay.
So the timing of this is not by, mistake. It is done on purpose. There's no such thing as coincidence. And this was done after the stock price went through the roof, after the two major prolific announcements were made about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and the Netflix deal, all the money that was attached to it, all the money that was given to Dwayne, everything that went with it. This is now something that was released that WWE TKO knew was eventually coming. The details probably not, but they knew something was coming. I told you it was coming in November.
Yes, you did. And you retweeted the clip on X earlier this afternoon.
They did not anticipate the filing or anything else and the Wall Street Journal happening today. That was supposed to come after the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. A lot of what we are about to read to you, I'm going to read you some of the just straight up article from the Wall Street Journal here. And I told Drew before we actually went on the air, before we went live, that I will be reading some of the excerpts from the court document, especially in the John Laurinaitis section, because I can't stand that motherfucker. And Vince McMahon and just the absolute, I swear to God, guys, and Drew read it, and I told him off the air before we actually went live, like, I'm reading this shit, and it doesn't even sound real. It really doesn't even sound like real life.
Try having a daughter. Try having a daughter and realize that this is somebody's daughter.
Like, it was even very difficult for me to talk about this with friends via text. Just describe and using the words that were in these text messages that were included in the court document. I mean, who the fuck talks like that? Honestly. But Vince McMahon was accused of sex trafficking in new court documents that also name Brock Lesnar. Again, not in the court document was Lesnar named, but you paint speculation. You paint a picture, and you just figure out who it is.
I'm gonna have to again. I want to just preface that is JD's speculation that Brock Lesnar is the man being named. That is the former WWE and UFC heavyweight champion.
Yes.
His name has not been attached to this by name. Mr. Lesnar has not been attached.
In a new lawsuit, the woman, Janel Grant, accuses McMahon and former executive John Laurinaitis of sex trafficking. The lawsuit claims that McMahon lured her in with promises of career advancement, and then she was allegedly exploited and trafficked to other men in the company. Now, Grant signed an NDA in 2022, and McMahon agreed to pay her $3 million not to discuss their relationship. The NDA also stated that she could not disparage him. The Wall Street Journal added that they have yet to hear from McMahon or his attorney, Jerry McDevitt, when they were reached for comment on this story. In 2023, McMahon denied and intentional wrongdoing. I want to stop there. Drew, Janel Grant signed an NDA. Why all of a sudden now is she taking this to the legal system if the NDA was signed?
My speculation
Yes.
would be that the payments have ceased to Miss Janel Grant.
Okay.
From Vincent Kennedy McMahon. My speculation.
Makes a lot of sense, and it's a logical explanation. The lawsuit alleges that McMahon and another WWE executive locked her in an office at the company headquarters on June 15th, 2021. John Laurinaitis is named in the court documents. Per the Wall Street Journal story, in the middle of another work day on June 23rd, 2021, McMahon locked Grant inside his private locker room at WWE offices and forced himself over her on a massage table, the suit said. Later that day, McMahon's personal assistant delivered $15,000 in Bloomingdale's gift cards to Grant in her office. The Wall Street Journal story also notes that Grant has screenshots and explicit text messages from McMahon, with one from May 2020 that says, "I'm the only one who owns you and controls who I want you to have sex with." Grant also alleges that nude photos and explicit videos of her were shared by McMahon to other employees without her consent. The videos and photos were also allegedly shown to unnamed executives and stars, and then he directed her to have sex with all of them. Allegedly, McMahon's demands of Grant increased, and he forced sex toys on her, including toys he named after WWE wrestlers. This is where it gets just fucking bizarre, and it's just absolutely disgusting. Grant says this caused her bruising and bleeding. In March 2020, McMahon allegedly shared sexual explicit photos and videos of Grant with other men.
You know you're my guy, but I don't think we need to do this. Like, I don't think we need.
This is the Wall Street Journal article.
Yeah, no, I just don't think we need to get like that graphic.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not trying to stop you. Listen, I think Vince did some heinous things with Janel Grant, like JD just talked about, and it's disgusting. But again, you can continue, but I just maybe know more about the blood and stuff.
No, fine. I won't read any of that stuff. But I did tell you that I'm going to read some of the Laurinaitis stuff.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's afterwards. All right. In context, they had a group where they had these incidences occur. Both stand out and personifies the overall tone and tenure of Grant's filing. Earlier in the encounter, McMahon immediately directed Miss Grant to do things that she did not want to do. And again, I won't get into the graphic detail here because it does go on to mention that McMahon and his physical therapist, which, by the way, in the court documents, she wanted to go seek medical attention and go to her own doctor, and McMahon said no. He appointed her his physician, which then the said physical therapist actively continued to engage in sexual activity with McMahon and Miss Grant. That lasted for over an hour and a half, which, you guys can read the court documents. I'm not going to get into the disgusting nature of it, but, you guys seen it floating around on social media. She was left covered with things that I will not name here. McMahon was also allegedly...
Yeah, guys, I see the people in the chat being like, let him cook, let him read. You have to understand something. There's stuff on YouTube that technically we, can and cannot say. It's all in this document, and JD is pretty much reading it verbatim, which I have no problem with. We're not hiding the truth. It's just a lot of this stuff is very, very graphic, which is fine, but it's in the court doc. Go ahead, JD.
It is in the court doc. Again, I don't want to, hold back on things. Just me to you. If people didn't know what was going on, people are maybe coming here and they don't really know, or they don't want to go and read 67 pages of documents. Yeah. I won't get into the graphic details, but this is what is out in the public now. They did what they did. Hour and a half, she was left in piss and fucking shit. That's exactly what she was left in. Right. And she was not given any time to go clean herself off. McMahon went to go clean herself off, and then they continued to engage in sexual activity with her in that position. That's just the nature of what was uncovered today. It sucks.
Yep.
McMahon was allegedly paid for Grant to see a celebrity doctor because of her deteriorating physical and mental health. Obviously, you see why. She also allegedly paid $20,000 to a surgeon on her behalf. Grant said in the suit that she felt bad about herself when she left the hotel after being sent there to have sex with John Laurinaitis. Then there was a excerpt in this that said, the suit also alleges that Grant started at a lower level within the company, but was promised that she would be promoted to vice president and that McMahon controlled her professionally and in her personal life and was subjected to degradation. Furthermore, in June 2021, McMahon and John Laurinaitis allegedly took turns restraining her while saying, no means yes, and they said, take it, bitch. So this was happening in Stamford Titan Tower in their offices there in Connecticut. Then we get to the UFC fighter and WWE talent that was, floating around out there. People were making speculation that it was Brock, one of WWE's biggest names. McMahon also allegedly gave Grant's personal phone number to said WWE star, and the wrestler asked for her to send a video of her urinating and then called her a bitch afterwards. The star then later that month asked about setting up a play date with Miss Grant. So, I could go on and on and on about the things that were said here, and I will go over some of the court documents about John Laurinaitis here. Like I said, Drew, I read this, and I want to say that I'm not shocked, but I'm shocked at how graphic everything was. And
it's disgusting.
And, I know we can sit here and talk about McMahon and his influence over the business and the industry. I think everything that we read today, and people got on a lot of different people in their pasts about what they did in their personal life and apply it to their professional career. I don't think that Vince McMahon is going to be looked at in any other light outside today than what we read today. I think his reputation is forever tarnished. I don't think he's ever going to come back from this, and I don't think people are going to. I think from this day forward, Triple H and Nick Khan running WWE is what people are going to want to remember about WWE and the successes that they're having now. I don't think up until this point with McMahon, I think his reputation is completely up in flames. Never again.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that what happened, every all the equity that Vince McMahon had ever built with the fans and others has probably and should be lost, unfortunately. You'll never see Vince in the WWE Hall of Fame. If they were going to do that, they should have done that years ago. You'll never see Vince McMahon really attached to this product anymore in terms of, video packages or anything else like that. They are more than likely, WWE is more than likely going to erase Vince McMahon from its history books, besides him being the owner, of the company for a set amount of years. But again, I know everyone wants to be like, well, nothing's been, proven. He's not proven guilty yet. Vince McMahon and his reps have denied the allegations. But realistically, if you go read the court documents and everything else like that, I don't know how he survives this bullet. I don't.
I don't either. And TKO, we were all waiting for a statement from TKO. TKO did put out a statement. It wasn't really anything that was like, oh my God, we're removing Vince McMahon. It was very simple, to the point, and they said this: Mr. McMahon does not control TKO, nor does he oversee the day-to-day operations of WWE, a TKO spokesperson told Variety magazine. While this matter predates our TKO executive team's tenure at the company, we take Ms. Grant's horrific allegations very seriously and are addressing this matter internally.
Yeah, and again, I think that's their way of saying, like, we're going to talk about this with, our board members and everything else like that. They're not rushing to a decision, but I think once their legal department takes a look at everything here, they're going to all make the decision to remove Vince McMahon from the board of directors and kind of erase him from any sort of TKO doings. Now, again, his stock, they can't, we have 5,000 people in here. They can't take the stock away from him. He could be forced to sell it. There's other options that could happen there. But realistically, Vince is done. Vince is absolutely 100% done. So, and again, guys, You came here to listen to JD read the experts from the court document. Fine. I'll let him talk and I'll let him do his thing. But realistically, like, you all have brains, read the goddamn document. I mean, you really want this guy to sit here and talk about how this woman was like basically raped? I mean, okay.
I mean, I will not get into any more of the graphic details. I mean, when I tell you, and I've said some outlandish shit on this show. I have not TNT particularly, but on my own. I do not stand for in any sense of the word at all. Before I get into what I want to say about John Laurinaitis here, because he was named in the report several times in several different instances, about his removal, Drew. I know a lot of people are saying that Vince McMahon should be removed today. He should be removed after Royal Rumble weekend, et cetera, et cetera.
It should have happened today. I mean, I understand this is a multi-billion-dollar company with publicly traded assets and everything else like that. I'm just saying, like, I understand we're in a society. We talked about this with Jericho, that he's guilty until proven innocent. I mean, Jericho's stuff was not even like a crumb.
No.
Compared to this. This is the whole damn cookie. And I mean, even if one of these claims is invalid, the text messages, the wording, my opinion is the wording in those text messages sounds like Vince. The words he uses sound like Vince.
Now, some people, I will not be reading the text messages. They were the most fucking graphic of them all. You guys can go look at them. There's screenshots in the court documents if you want to go and look at it. It's online. A lot of people, Drew, said that did not sound like Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon wouldn't use, and I quote, use emojis.
Well, I mean, all right, here's the other thing that a lot of people don't do. Go back and watch some stuff on Broken Skull Sessions. Go back and watch some of the Untold. They talk about how Vince texts, and he uses the letter U. There was some words in here. Again, my opinion is that he used the word voluptuous. How many times have you heard Vince McMahon use that word on television?
That's a Vince McMahon word. Absolutely.
Listen, my wife is a very beautiful woman to me. I'm sure to many other men out there as well. She's a good looking woman, but I don't call her voluptuous.
No.
I've heard Vince McMahon use that verbatim.
I never used that word once in my entire life.
Right. So come on. It's not Vince. Listen, I understand how everybody, wants to do their thing with Vince and they want to be thankful for what Vince gave them. Okay, I get it. And that's fine. But that does not excuse what we're reading today. And I am not your guy who grandstands and everything else like that. But this stuff is gross. I mean, there has never been a time where I have been engaged in sexual activity where I'm like, you know what I want to do? I want to crap on this girl's head. Never.
No.
Never.
Or send me a picture. Send me a video of you urinating. Like,
yeah,
really?
I don't even get the whole feet stuff,
really?
Let alone this.
No, I never understood foot fetishes, man. People got some weird fucking fetishes out there, man. Listen, that's you guys. You enjoy that shit. God bless you. It's not me, man. I'm not into that type of thing. But getting back to how sick and deranged everything was. A lot of people just took it on the surface level. Oh yeah, McMahon had sex with these women. He paid them off. Things were kept quiet, and he resumed business. And then we move on from there. From the word go, I always thought something was really, really fishy, man. Stephanie goes out on SmackDown, and she thanks Vince McMahon. She's appointed the interim CEO. She's filling in on the chairman of the board position because he's out. He retired. He put that statement out on social media. Nick Khan has always been glowing about Vince McMahon. Triple H has always said good things about Vince McMahon. And I know that they have to because they're just standing up for WWE and they are the faces of the company and they're going to put out that type of statement. Meanwhile,
I don't think Stephanie knew. You
don't think Stephanie knew about any? Bro, she left the fucking company, never to come back again.
No. I said she knew that Vince was engaged in activities that were probably going to be detrimental to his business career with WWE, 100%. And she wanted nothing to. I don't think she knew that her dad allegedly was doing the things that he was doing with this woman, like, defecating, which is pooping, on someone's head and all this other stuff. Like, no, I don't, because I think Stephanie would have never said what she said on SmackDown when Vince was forced to retire.
What is she going to say?
She doesn't have to mouth "I love you" to her dad. I mean, I know you love your dad, and that's your father. I have a daughter. I get it. I have 2 sons, but I will tell you, if my dad was Vince, and I read this, man, I don't know.
I don't know, man. That's a very sketchy one, man. You know, when Stephanie was appointed and then Vince forced his way back into power, she up and fucking left as quick as you could blink. I guarantee you that woman knew everything that was coming out and she wanted nothing. She's never coming back. She's never coming back. I don't give a shit if this is the cleanest company from this point on until eternity. She's never coming back just because of what he did here.
I know that she knew about what was going on, but I don't think she knew all of the details, JD. That's what I'm saying.
She might have been the one to blab to the Wall Street Journal for all we know. Who knows?
That's speculation. But again, I don't think Stephanie knew all the details here. I think Paul Levesque, more recently, Triple H might have known.
All right, so let's stop there. If Paul Levesque knew and Nick Khan probably, these people worked closely or as close to Vince McMahon than anybody. Is anything here going to be, as far as this Vince McMahon story, is there going to be any blowback to Nick Khan and Triple H? Because I've seen some people whispering, I think the whole McMahon family needs to be removed from TKO and blah, blah, blah.
No,
how do they stand in this situation?
You can't be held accountable for this man's actions. And again, you have no idea whether or not Triple H, Paul Levesque, again, speculation, any of these guys and girls actually saw these acts happening. People talk about things, right? Oh, you should have seen what I did last night. And 9 times out of 10, it could be bullshit. So I'm not saying turning a blind eye is okay, because it's not. And I think relationships within WWE, talent relations, higher ups, a lot of this stuff started to get weird around 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, when all this crap was happening. So I think you saw a lot of people being like, hey, you bet, like, this has to stop or I'm out of here. And a lot of people got out of there. So I think these people are going to get blowback? I think the question, which is going to be asked 100 times at this press conference and everything else, which in my opinion should be canceled. A lot of people are going to ask about the Netflix deal. A lot of people are going to ask about the severity of the allegations, all this other stuff. We know it's coming, and I think it's unfortunate that Paul Levesque will have to sit there and answer to it. And I also think it's unfortunate that the talent will be subjected to this, because realistically, I know for a fact that a lot of these talents did not know the severity of what was going on, but they did know that Vince was probably engaging in these type of activities.
Yeah, and if Vince ever found his way back into some sort of role backstage or working in Gorilla or with the roster again, I don't think anybody would even allow that at this point.
That's why you saw a lot
finished.
That's why you saw a lot of the AEW talent and a lot of these other people, AEW talent now, go over there because they were just sick and tired of dealing with Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that some of them knew some of what was going on, but the extreme detail, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, it really makes me wonder when this all happened and Vince started to force his way back into power and Stephanie was there interim. I want you guys to understand that when Stephanie was interim, Vince was still in charge. And when Vince forced his way officially back to the seat, head of board of directors, he was unanimously voted out by everybody. And then all of a sudden they unanimously voted him to come back. I found that to be very strange, and nobody really followed up on that. Nobody asked any fucking questions. It's like,
as soon as that happened, Stephanie was gone.
How do you all vote him unanimously to go away, and then a month and a half, not even a month later, he's back in the fucking seat, and everybody who I'm assuming voted no, voted yes? How the fuck does that happen?
I don't know. But, that's another big question. It's Stephanie was gone shortly after that. And I think that was the last straw for her. She was like, how is everything that's going to come out? Obviously not knowing all the details. How is this not going to be damning for us? And she just didn't want to be attached to it. And I think that was the smart move here. And again, unfortunate, disgusting. Realistically, I know JD was going to read some of these documents verbatim. I could tell you right now exactly what it was, and so could JD. Basically, Vince McMahon used his power to engage in sexual activity for advancement of employment with a woman, allegedly, who is in the court documents. We don't need to name her. Everyone knows who she is. Go look it up. And basically, she felt like she needed to oblige to advance her career placement in WWE, which did happen. But I will say, her responses back to Vince in the text message, which we do not have to read on the air, it should have been more blunt. Like, hey, Vince, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm
no, she
done.
willingly was.
Yeah.
The responses were almost as if she liked it and wanted to continue doing it.
Well, we don't know. What I'm saying is she might have, again, the fear of losing her position and stuff like that. But she easily, in my opinion, should have like really. And again, so she gets fired. I understand that. Vince is a very powerful man. But I think her text, if it was something that was, I would have been more forceful than like, I'm done. It's either I don't want to be involved with anybody else. I want to be involved with you.
And I do think the court documents, I didn't really, copy and paste some of those pieces because I didn't really find it to be, the juicy stuff that people wanted to hear. But I'm sure her upbringing was not good, Drew. I think the first maybe 30 articles of the court document, who she is and where she came from and what her upbringing was. She was never seeing money like this in her entire life. And she was never seeing, this type of power, in her entire life. And when someone's put in that situation, I can only imagine that they want to do whatever they can to hold on to that. But, you're working with Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon is the way that he is, and he just absolutely abused this woman in every which way. So, yeah, like you said, it was about her fearing losing her job because she wanted to take care of herself and her family, and this was the best way for her to do that. I feel bad. I feel terrible. That she had to be subjected to do this, Yeah,
I understand, and it's awful. But at the end of the day, there's no excuse for what Vince McMahon did, and, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Again, if I was TKO, I would have removed him yesterday.
Yeah, and it's so much deeper than, what it is that you're reading here. I want to read, this is from Article 61 here. McMahon explained that people are intimidated around him and are afraid to touch him. McMahon added that he is an affectionate person who likes to hug and starves for physical affection. McMahon then led Miss Grant on a tour of his condo before hugging her goodbye, again whispering in her ear, "It feels so good." So then later that day, Miss Grant tested McMahon enthusiastically describing her meeting with, some WWE corporate people. She also commented on the dinosaur skull that she saw in McMahon's office, the famous T-Rex thing, the skull and bones that Triple H got him for, I believe, a birthday. He says in response to the T-Rex head, "By the way, if you're a bad girl, the T-Rex will eat you," followed by, "Seriously, Janel, wherever you land in WWE, you will be a credit to the organization." So McMahon, Drew, it's almost like a fucking horror story playing out. He starves physical attention. He starves for power. He loved using that power. He went on to say that he described her goodness, vivaciousness, and childlike innocence and the ability to be vulnerable. Boom. That made an easy target for Vince McMahon. He fought as soon as he saw that, goodbye, who's in?
Yeah, and I mean, again, the words.
Yeah.
Very Vince McMahon-esque.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
John Laurinaitis was also ousted in this thing, and we all know how I feel about John Laurinaitis. John Laurinaitis was nothing more than an absolute fucking degenerate stooge for Vince McMahon. He did not value his job there. He did not value his position. He did not value anybody on that roster. He did not value making the company better. He didn't care about what was being put on television. As long as he was getting benefit from it, and as long as he was pleasing Vince McMahon, that's all he wanted. He knew he was being taken care of on the back end, and everything that mattered did not matter to John Laurinaitis. So on multiple occasions here, it said, Miss Grant worked under Laurinaitis, including after McMahon's promise that one-on-one encounters would end. And even after his wife moved across the country to join Laurinaitis, he would call Miss Grant to his office, lock the door, and ask her to do sexual favors for him behind closed doors. So McMahon kind of, I guess, gave Janel Grant to John Laurinaitis here and continued to advertise a sexual encounter with Miss Grant and John Laurinaitis, as well as a WWE superstar that was documented in the court documents here. And apparently, Laurinaitis, on top of that, when Miss Grant arrived for her day of work on this particular day, June 23rd. McMahon led her inside his private locker room, like I said, locked the door, forced himself on her over a massage table. $15,000 in Bloomingdale's gift cards were then given to Miss Grant. And Laurinaitis ignored her plea and brought her into his office, forcibly touching and undressing her before forcing her to engage in a threesome on a conference table with Vince. I mean, it's fucking absolutely disgusting. You know what sickens me about John Laurinaitis, Mo? You know, where he was, what was he, Judge? Head of talent relations? He was in charge of the talent. I mean, bro, what the fuck are you doing, man? Instead of doing what's right for the roster, making sure everybody else is happy, getting shit done on TV, making sure everybody's taking care of his storylines, putting on the best product possible, he's fucking in his office, touching this woman forcefully, unzipping his fucking pants, and taking care of himself. That shit, his stance in this. We knew Vince was a fucking monster and a deviant, but John Laurinaitis, man, he's the one that pisses me off the most. And I could honestly say, without any hesitation, I hope that man drops dead, and I hope he fucking rots in hell, man. He's a fucking piece of shit. It's disgusting. It's really disgusting.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I agree with you. I won't wish death upon anybody, but yeah, I mean, it's disgusting. John should have, again, my opinion, John should have not engaged in these activities, and he should have been, more worried about what's going on with the company. But, there's a lot of this, unfortunately, in sports entertainment in Hollywood. This is not something that is earth-shattering. There's a lot of executives who abuse their power, and it's unfortunate.
And the last thing I'll say here, Lesnar, again, was not named in the documents. Everybody was throwing Lesnar's name around on social media. McMahon continued to advertise a sexual encounter with Miss Grant to said WWE superstar during the formal negotiation of booking his new contract. In December 2021, McMahon gave Miss Grant's personal cell phone number to said WWE superstar and promised she'll do anything requested of her. In the days that followed, WWE superstar revealed a fetish to Miss Grant and tested McMahon's promise that Miss Grant would do anything with a request that she send a video of herself urinating. So, she was also used in a negotiation tactic to get fucking Brock signed with a little added signing bonus on the side. It's like, whatever, man. When are we celebrating this man's removal, man? When do you see this man being removed? And if he is removed, what happens to everything that he's accumulated for himself as far as stock and all that stuff? Where does that stuff go?
I mean, I think this stuff should happen now. They're obviously not going to release a statement now. I think it's 8:14 on the East. I mean, they could, they being TKO Endeavor, but I do believe that we will see this come out sooner rather than later. And I believe it's probably going to happen, I don't know, tomorrow. I would say tomorrow, if not. I mean, Endeavor TKO cannot wait, in my opinion, up until or past the Royal Rumble, because it's just going to be a hot topic. The media that will be there, I was supposed to be there tomorrow. I canceled all my stuff, not because I'm outraged or anything like this. Don't get me wrong, I am. But the show will go on, and realistically, Vince McMahon is not a figurehead in TKO or a figurehead in WWE's creative process. But I just have a funny feeling that these press conferences are not going to take place, because it's unfair to their superstars, their talent. It's unfair to Paul Levesque to have to sit up there and answer these questions, which legally none of them can speak on.
In regards to the media scrum, I don't think they should be holding a media scrum tomorrow, Saturday anyway. And if it is a media scrum, if there is a media scrum after the Royal Rumble, and then nothing is asked about this, it's only going to make the media look bad, because they already get shit on anyway for not asking the hard questions, and all the people that get invited there are fucking marks who mark out over the pro wrestlers that, I get to ask this one a question. And none of the hard-hitting questions are going to be answered. So it's going to make Triple H look bad. It's going to make the media look bad. So why even hold it? Why even bother?
Yeah, I don't get it, because realistically, we all kind of know what's going to transpire here at this press conference. And I'm not, crapping on any of the media members that are there. But realistically, what are you going to ask? Hey, where do you guys go from here after said person wins Royal Rumble? I mean, we all know that every media member in there wants to ask the question. And realistically, could Paul Levesque come out and be like, hey, unfortunately, we're not talking about any of that stuff today. I know you guys might want to ask that question, but, legally we cannot. And if you do ask the question, we will remove you and take your microphone and the question will not be answered. But there's going to be people who try and weasel their questions in. And I just think it's opening the floodgates for something you don't want right now.
Listen, I remove him and then you just exile him completely from everything from this point on. As far as Triple H, I feel bad for Triple H. As far as Stephanie, I feel bad for Stephanie. As far as the other people involved here that people really aren't mentioning, John Laurinaitis, his wife, who went through, I don't know what her condition was, if she had a brain tumor or if it was cancer. She was undergoing some medical condition. While he was doing this, he should have been taking care of her. I feel bad for her. I feel bad for Nikki and Brie Bella that this guy is fucking married into their goddamn family. Feel bad for Sable and everybody involved in that household now that Brock's got to deal with this shit and they got to deal with this shit. It's like nobody can win here. We all said Vince should have been in prison a long time ago, and now
it's a lose-lose situation for everybody involved. I mean, Miss Grant will never be able to live a normal life, unfortunately. No. And, Vince McMahon is no longer somebody who people will look up to, people will want to be associated with or do business with, because realistically, and again, I know these are allegations, but they're pretty damn damning. They really are.
Now, one thing I did want to know, I was paying attention to the stock today. And the stock, I believe, was as high as $94, if I'm not mistaken, before we really got to today. After the Netflix deal was announced with WWE Raw, then it kind of normalized and went down to, I think, 89. And I think today it closed at 87. Why didn't the stock...
So Monday, when to just give you some background, Monday when the announcement was made for Dwayne and Monday Night Raw being, or Tuesday, Monday Night Raw being on Netflix, it was at 95. Today it opened at, I want to say it was at 87, and we closed at 87. So it remained pretty much the same.
So my question to you is, with all this news that came out, I expect, I don't know jack shit about the stocks and how they fluctuate and how they operate, but with this news, you would think that the stock would fucking lose a nice hefty chunk of change with this bombshell news article by the Wall Street Journal coming out. Why didn't the stock lose as much as I had anticipated with this news breaking? What happened there?
Well, again, TKO has stated that Vince McMahon is not, a figurehead in TKO. So basically he's not in the day-to-day operations, all that other stuff, but he was on Wall Street when they announced Dwayne. He was there for the picture, which I know is for optics and stuff like that. I think once they make the announcement, you might see the stock fluctuate a tad.
Yeah.
But this is not the same old WWE. And I think everybody should be thankful that Vince McMahon is not in complete control and doesn't own WWE anymore, because this would be catastrophic for stock.
I'm thinking about when he's going to be removed, when it's going to happen, how soon it's going to happen after this article got dropped by the Wall Street Journal. In your honest opinion, Drew, and I'm thinking about this now live while we are on the air, when he is, and I'm hoping it does happen, and I hope that they do take swift action here and they just don't try to sweep this thing under the rug or try to claim, well, where's the evidence and all this other shit, and they don't do anything about it. If he is removed, how big of a deal is it going to be today compared to when he stepped away 2 years ago? I mean, even if he is removed this weekend or in the coming week or the coming weeks, is it going to be that big of a story, or is it just going to be like, all right, they did what they needed to do, let's move on and fucking conduct business and get Triple H and Nick Khan into WrestleMania and have this fucking product flourish like we know it can?
This is the story. I mean, this lawsuit is the story. People have already made up their minds about Vince. They were shocked that he's still around, shocked that he was on the board of directors. I think that was part of, the agreement that he might have signed with Endeavor, with Ari Emanuel. But you could tell that, again, in November, I stated it maybe at the end of October, that Ari knew that there was more going on here with Vince and this whole thing and what was going on with him and Miss Grant. And Ari started to kind of separate Vince McMahon from TKO and Endeavor immediately. And he tried to kind of like, you asked, is Ari pushing Vince McMahon out the door? And I said, yeah, I believe he is. I don't know if he'll get it done, but I think he absolutely is. And you could tell when Vince started to unload some stock that, this is starting to get ugly. And again, the Rock news and the Netflix news jumped the stock. And I was waiting for the Vince McMahon unload of his stock within the next 7 to 10 business days. And then Miss Grant and her attorneys played chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
They did this. So there you go.
So with Vince selling the company to Ari and Endeavor, what was his mindset? In your words, what was his mindset here? Because my mindset is it was never about a sale of the company. Vince thought that if he could play ball with somebody that he's done business with and a good personal friend for over 20 years like Ari Emanuel, that he may be in the clear and nothing's going to happen. He may gain more power. He may feel more invincible than he was before.
Yeah.
So he sold the company to Ari, and obviously I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Ari didn't know half of the fucking shit that was going on here in this court document. So why would Vince sell to Ari and lose all that power anyway? I mean, he was going to be out one way or another if he sold to Endeavor or not, but he tried to find a safe space in Ari. But even before this document came out, it almost felt like you said, Ari was kind of pushing him out. It sounds like, it feels like Ari kind of suckered him in and then kind of like said, hey, yeah, I got you now. Now we're going to fucking play with you and get you the fuck out of here because nobody wants you here. So he found Ari a safe space in Ari, but then he really didn't. So what was Vince's mindset there? Like trying to sell to Ari?
Well, Vince knew that he could trust Ari. Vince knew that it was like a safe bet because if you sold to anybody else, I don't know if Vince McMahon was going to be able to be attached. I mean, we hadn't seen Vince McMahon on our television screens or even associated with WWE for a long time. And then the sale popped at WrestleMania 39 and Vince was there with his mustache and I called him Vincenzo and all that other stuff. So I think Vince thought this was the safest bet for him and that he could retain some of his power and still be associated with this brand that he created. It's his baby. But again, I think Ari played chess, not checkers.
Yeah. Now,
I think Ari knew everything, truthfully.
You think he knew everything? Everything here?
Yeah. My assumption, my opinion, speculation is that Ari Emanuel knew everything. Yes.
This, it's, what is it, January 25th, and we got this, we got Mercedes, we got Okada, we got fucking Punk and Cody, we got the Royal Rumble, I thought
January 24th or 25th, and we're 25 days into the new year. Look how much news we have.
It's just fucking unbelievable, man. I was looking for a goddamn day off to just sit in this chair, look at this screen, and play PlayStation most of the day until dinner time. And, here we are talking about fucking Vince McMahon's sexual escapades and him defecating on fucking some poor female with John Laurinaitis and supposedly another WWE superstar making the rounds here. But
yeah, and again, I think, to that point, to JD's point, an off day and everything else like that, I think that's part of the reason why we haven't seen an announcement from TKO and Endeavor yet. I think they are looking at McMahon's contract and making sure that, the decision they make, they can legally remove him and pay him whatever they need to pay him and send him on his way, he being Vince McMahon. But there's a lot of contracts involved now. And I'm sure that those lawyers are going to stay up well past, midnight and hopefully have an announcement by the morning.
I hope so. That's the right decision. And my next question for you, Drew, is I've seen a lot of people exclaiming to others on social media, we got to boycott WWE, stop supporting WWE. Does this does this affect the viewership in any way of World Wrestling Entertainment from this point on? Or are these people just out there just to kind of raise the flag of what's right here? I'm going to put up a stance against them and I'm not going to watch just for the sake of social media.
No, and I mean, you're always going to get those people, just like, when stuff comes out about this person or that person from AEW or Ring of Honor or whatever. It's like, oh, I'm not watching this anymore. Okay, fine, then don't watch. But realistically, no, the product is as hot as could ever be. It's flourishing. And Vince McMahon has not been attached to this brand realistically as a figurehead for a very long time. You could say you're not going to watch. Go for it. I understand. This is a very, very appalling. It's a disgusting court document. but the building in St. Petersburg is sold, packed to the rafters. Their numbers are through the roof. And again, I think we're just thankful that Vince McMahon is not in charge of WWE, because this would be catastrophic.
Yeah, absolutely. I just seen some people in the chat saying Vince just put out a statement. This is as of 22 minutes ago. Vince McMahon has not commented on the matter, with his spokesperson issuing the following statement to Deadline, and I quote, "This lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene made-up instances that never occurred, and a vindictive distortion of the truth. He will vigorously defend himself." That's via his spokesperson, via Deadline.
Yeah, and again, that's, smart on Vince McMahon to do that, but Vince knows he's screwed. He's going to try and maybe get some of this stuff buried, and maybe swept under the rug, being like it's not true, but he knows this is the final nail in Vince McMahon's coffin.
All right, well, absolutely. If that does happen and they end up getting rid of him before all of that stuff happens, and he does end up sweeping most of this under the rug like he usually does, because Vince McMahon throws money at something he thinks it could go away. If he's in that position and they have already gotten rid of him, I mean, at that point, there's nothing else he can do. He's never being brought back. I mean, he's not going to find his way back into his previous position, right? Once he's gone, he's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once he's gone, he's gone. I don't see any way that Vince McMahon survives this. I mean, listen, Jerry McDevitt is one of the best. The best. He's a great guy too. But I don't even think Jerry would take this one on. And I'm speaking on my opinion. I don't think Mr. McDevitt takes this one on, because
I thought he retired. I thought he retired. I thought he wasn't doing
Yeah,
anything.
I think if Vince, if Vince needed something legal wise, I think maybe Jerry would answer the call. And again, speculation, but I don't even think the best lawyer. I don't even think you can get OJ's team to take this one on.
Yeah,
I don't think you're getting the dream team. I mean, half of them are dead, but I'm just saying, there's no way that any lawyer with a sane mind is going to take this one on, because I didn't go to law school, but I can tell you Vince is done.
Now, in regards to Brock Lesnar, and we've said this repeatedly throughout this stream, that Lesnar was not named in the court documents. He was listed as WWE superstar and former UFC heavyweight champion. I know there's a lot of speculation, Drew, about Brock Lesnar, him being included in the Royal Rumble, him being at WrestleMania. How does all of this now, with him and his name being floated around on social media, along with these accusations, does that affect his standing with the company? Does that affect his standing going into the Royal Rumble Saturday and into WrestleMania? That may be a tough one. I don't know. I'm sorry if it's a tough question.
No, it's not a tough question. Brock Lesnar was not named. So, yeah. I mean, the speculation and the evidence is pretty, clear.
Yeah.
Who they think they're talking about. But I think there was a reason why Brock Lesnar was not named. And I'm not quite sure. I think Brock was going to be in the Rumble. I know there's some reports going around here that all creative process for Brock Lesnar has been altered. Nobody has that information. Shut up.
No, nobody has. I mean, we've debunked that all week with the Sports Illustrated stuff. I'm sure we'll dabble in that in a little bit. But, I said on social media, I'm like, well, maybe we don't get Gunther and Brock Lesnar after all this situation happened today. And I'm thinking back to what they did on Monday. And I'm thinking, well, maybe they really did pivot their plans because of what was coming today. Like, they knew it was going to drop, and they didn't really know. They knew it was going to happen before the Rumble, and then they pivoted their plans for WrestleMania to do something else that didn't include Brock Lesnar, because everybody's kind of predicting that Lesnar and Gunther are going to end up in the ring together at WrelsMania. I don't know if one has to do with the other, but I was just making small talk on social media.
I don't know if I don't know if TKO knew that this was coming today.
Yeah.
There's a lot of evidence, that I won't get into the dirty details, but a buddy of mine, Ellis Emba, said in a chat that we had that the Wall Street Journal does, there's some sort of algorithm that they use to push out articles, and it was not done for this one. So I don't know if they were scheduled to release it today. I think it was supposed to come 2 weeks from now or a week from now. So,
well, guys, I mean, that's the gist of it. I mean, if you want to go and find and read for yourself the 67 pages of court documents and read all of the unbelievable filth that was in there. Some of the stuff, I tried to read to you guys because I know a lot of you are not going to read the 67 pages of court documents, and you rely on content creators to fill you in on the narrative and what was said, so you don't have to go read it yourself. You rely on us to do that. I do that with some of the video game patch notes that come out for some of my favorite games that I play. Instead of reading them, I go to my favorite content creators and I have them read it to me like story time. I get it. But a lot of this stuff is so fucking disgusting that it's embarrassing to even have the words come out of your own mouth reading this shit. And, you know, I do agree with Drew that we did not need to get into all of it. I wanted to read you some of it so you guys get the gist of how fucking disgusting. And I really want to nail home the fact that he should have been gone yesterday. Not even yet. He should have been gone 2 years ago. And we had to deal with this shit. You know, with him being, you know, him retiring and going away and then him coming back. And then I had to get the fucking brunt of it. You don't know what you're talking about. He's not booking the shows. He was there. He was there. We all saw it. We all felt it. So why was he there if all this shit was just hanging in the fucking weeds? I don't get it. Now it's here. And now we're saying the shit that we were saying 2 years ago. Do you believe us now?
Yeah, I could say that Vince was not present at a lot of these shows physically.
He didn't need to be, though. Right?
Correct. Mm-hmm. But he was, he did still have a presence, and I'll leave it at that. So, and, you know, there were multiple, I've received multiple confirmations of that. So, you know, the other thing that, you know, JD didn't talk about, which I do want to talk about, is that in 2022, Vince ceased conversation with Miss Grant. And that's why this all started, because he claimed that his wife, Linda, had found out and that a relationship with Mrs. Grant would be public and it would not be good for his public image with Linda, and a public divorce would make Mrs. Grant a headline. So
no, I want to stop you there, Drew. What is it with Vince and his relationship? All I've heard for years that him and Linda were still officially married and they agreed to a separation, but they were still legally married. I don't think they've been together for like 20 years now. So
I don't think Vince and Linda have been together for a while, but they are not divorced. I think they're just separated, and I think they kept it that way for business matters. I first brought this to the table when Vince showed up on Pat McAfee. He referred to his wife as his former wife and then quickly corrected himself. My wife at the time. I was like, what? So, you know, they've been not together, quote unquote, for a while.
Yeah. So and she was worried about, or Vince was rather worried about all of this kind of getting out and then leading to a divorce, which he didn't really need at the time because he was dealing with all this other shit.
Well, you know, they can't really do a divorce back then because, I mean, you could, but I mean, you want to talk about a bad public image and deals being up in the air and not being able to see your profitability go. It's not good for business. So basically, I'm sure Linda was given whatever she was given, and her and Vince were on their separate ways.
Yeah, that was definitely in the documents. That's towards the middle portion of everything. You guys again can go and read everything yourself, and it really plays out like a fucking horror movie. It just continuously got worse. From Article 1, I mean, I have clips here in my notes from, I would say, Article 60 is when it starts really getting fucking crazy, and all the way up until Article 199, and it just gets worse from every fucking step of the way. But again, you guys can go read it. All we're looking for now is for his removal. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's got to happen.
Oh, it's going to happen. You know, that's a prediction, but I will say that you don't expect, I don't think you guys understand what type of organization and, you know, sports entertainment conglomerate you're dealing with here. This is not going to be addressed on WWE television. No, this is not going to be addressed on any of their socials or anything else like that. This is going to come directly from TKO, and this is going to be a business decision, and it'll be published in a major publication, and they will have an official legal statement. This is not something where Triple H is going to address the fans on Monday Night Raw. You can forget that.
Why should he? Why should he? Why would he have to? It's none of his business. He's given a job and he needs to carry out his responsibilities.
A lot of people are like, hey, you know, how come we're not going to hear from WWE figureheads? Because it's not how this works, guys.
You want
Not how
Triple
it
H to
works.
clean up Vince McMahon's fucking mess? Why?
No, and Nick Khan's not either. Neither of them were named. Neither of them are responsible for what happened. So and WWE realistically is not going to put this type of crap, this disgusting nature on their television.
No.
It's not happening.
No, we are looking forward to when that day happens. And I can tell you guys, I mean, like Drew said perfectly, this is the story. When Vince gets ousted and Vince is removed completely, 100%, there really is no more story after that. He can go and rot and fucking wither away into irrelevancy after that point. I mean, there is no more story. This is it. When he gets removed, it's going to be like, all right, they did the right thing. Now we can worry about what Paul Levesque's going to do, what Nick Khan's going to do. We'll get ready for WrestleMania, and we'll conduct business as usual. I mean, there really isn't anything after today that we really need to go and document and discuss and dissect. It's over. This is it. Like you said, Drew, this is the nail in the coffin, and he's not getting out of this. He's not kicking out of this one.
No, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vince is not kicking out of this one, and he shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't. Miss Grant was terrified, and she had every right to be about what was going to happen to her. So
I'm going to leave it up to you guys. First of all, I want to thank you guys for tuning in here. I told Drew, I'm like, yeah, we'll get about 4K in here. We got 6K.
I said 8,000 to 9,000.
It's fucking ridiculous. You guys, listen, man, we appreciate you. We appreciate you greatly. I know a lot of this has to do with Vince McMahon. I don't know what else to say on this. You guys know the severity of this topic. We don't need to get into every single graphic detail as long as you guys get the gist of what is being discussed here and what was revealed today. So Vince is going to be gone. That's we can celebrate. I'll get the bottles of champagne and the whiskey out, and you guys can fucking have a blast, and we'll celebrate when that day comes, hopefully soon. But Drew, I know it's going to be a big week. We got Royal Rumble. I know I have a bunch of other news here. So I'm going to leave it up to you, man. I know you've been kind of in and out of the news. We got the Sports Illustrated stuff, the Justin Barrasso thing, which I absolutely buried today.
Who believed that? Who believed that?
I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to you, man. Where do you want to go? Let's get into some Rumble stuff. Where do you want to go as far as the Rumble stuff? Because I know there's a lot of stuff breaking now.
Sure.
People talking about a lot of different aspects.
Before we, get into that, I do want to say that again, what happened is absolutely disgusting. And I don't wish this upon any of the talent, figureheads that are there now. And it's a shame that they have to deal with this during one of their biggest weekends. It happened with AEW and it's happening with WWE now. And the timing of this stuff is terrible. But the actions that were done allegedly by Mr. McMahon, Vince, were inexcusable. And again, if I was in charge, Vince would have been removed today. But I'm sure they're looking into contracts and legality of those contracts. And I'm sure that's why the decision has not been made yet. But I expect a formal decision to come either Friday or start of business Monday. I don't expect them to let this bleed into weeks. And again, I think it's over for Vince McMahon.
Yeah. Good.
Royal Rumble. Yeah, there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of moving pieces right now. You asked about Lesnar. I believe that Brock was supposed to be in the Royal Rumble. Don't know if those plans have changed due to this. Although Brock was not named, a lot of people are like, oh, well, he'll be booed. Okay. I mean, maybe,
Brock gives a shit.
Right. And we don't know. And again, I don't think Brock was working past WrestleMania 41. So we'll have to wait and see what they do with that. It's a large investment, and I'm sure his contract is ironclad, hence why they didn't name him.
Yeah.
Just saying. That's probably part of it because Laurinaitis and McMahon are done. Lesnar has an active contract. So again, start to read between the lines here, guys and girls.
How long his contract is for? We don't know. I'm assuming this is his last contract with WWE.
Yeah. 100%. I see a lot of people in the chat saying that Lesnar was named. I combed through this whole thing. I didn't see Brock named.
I got through about 60, close to 70 articles. I didn't see Lesnar name once.
Yeah. So just because we're assuming, and you're drawing the lines accurately, that it is Brock, your opinions, okay, but realistically, we don't have that to be factual evidence just yet.
Yeah.
The Royal Rumble, I expect Jade Cargill to finally make her debut. And obviously, I don't think she's going to win the Royal Rumble, but I think she'll have a showing, whether she's in the Rumble or whether she is, doing something. But I think Jade Cargill is 100% at the Royal Rumble in St. Petersburg on Saturday.
Well, PW Insider's reporting that not only Jade, but Sonya Deville are expected to be at the show. Jade is still training at the Performance Center in Orlando, and Sonya is an interesting one as she's been at the tail end of recovering from her surgery from a torn ACL. She's also been at the Performance Center as of late, and with her being so close to being able to return to the ring and being at the show, it's highly likely that she could make a surprise return. Liv Morgan is set to be in the Rumble as well. A lot of people were asking about Alexa Bliss. They've heard no rumblings about her being at the show or appearing, though she does live in Florida, as most of them do. So it's possible they sneak her in at the last minute. She's been away since last year's Royal Rumble after she gave birth to her first child. So, Drew, the news that you got on Jade is that you're expecting her to be in the Royal Rumble, correct?
Yeah, and I believe that the plans for Jade right now are for her to kind of go through some of the I don't want to say, not main event level talent women just yet. They want to build her up. And I think her build's going to take 365 days. I think they take a year with Jade. They were very protective and selective on when they put Jade Cargill in the middle of a ring on the television sets or your streaming networks. And I think that time is coming. And realistically, when did she sign? September?
Yeah.
So, it's been October, November, December, January. It's been 4 months. She's been at the PC, and I think they're ready to pull that, push that pin and let's go.
Yeah, it's been a little bit that she's been there. She hasn't been working a full schedule training down there. I know she just dealt with the passing of her mother. Thoughts and prayers go out to her and her family. She did take some time away for a little bit to deal with that situation, and now she's back full-time training there. A lot of people were wondering why she was only doing 2 days. That was the reason. And like Drew said, if she is in the Rumble, and I did before Drew actually said that he expects her in the Rumble, I figured that they would put her in the Rumble because I think this is the perfect match for her to showcase her main strengths. She doesn't have to do anything. It's not a match that she has to fully carry with somebody else. She's going to have a bunch of bodies in there. Like Drew said, she could throw out a bunch of low-level, lower card females, rack up 6, 7, 8 people thrown out of the top rope and look impressive. Maybe stay in there for 20 minutes.
Yeah, we said in September. I said when Jade debuted, I would put her in the Rumble or Survivor Series where you could cover up her flaws right now and not expose her. And it's not just because she's Jade. Every men, women, they all, who don't normally work for WWE and haven't spent time in NXT, this is what you do.
Yeah.
You don't just throw your talent out there to look like a bag of shit, for lack of a better term. You don't want to do that. And Jade is far from that. So the Royal Rumble is the perfect time and place. She can have a spot here or there. She can look dominant. And then we can, see her on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. And she can have some, lower, not main event level matches and build herself up. The equity in Jade is there. They see a lot of money in her. And I believe that the money matches with her are Becky and Bianca.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a good look for her. She can get in there, toss bodies over the top rope, pose. You see how physically impressive she is. You think she goes to a brand after the Royal Rumble, or does she go back to the Performance Center?
That's interesting. I think that she will probably go to a brand, but I could see her showing up in the Rumble and then maybe doing some stuff, maybe at the Performance Center, like full-length matches, not filmed for anybody else besides, the head of talent relations and Triple H, and maybe she debuts the night after Mania. They could do that, or the night after Mania, because Mania will be on Sunday. They could do that, but I do believe Jade's debut on a roster is imminent, and I also believe that what you saw on Monday with Seth Rollins had nothing to do with Brock Lesnar being named in this or not being named in this lawsuit. The other news that I have is that I think Seth Rollins, they have 3 plans for Rollins at Mania due to what happened with his injury. And one of them does involve Gunther.
Gunther, I would not mind, actually. I mean, I'm more open to that scenario than a lot of people are. I know everybody's looking at the CM Punk, Seth Rollins situation as the match that they want. I don't know what we do with Punk if Rollins gets Gunther. I guess we'll talk about it because, a lot has been made about the rumors and the leaks going into WrestleMania, and they came from Sports Illustrated and Justin Barrasso. Now, I got to give Barrasso credit, who went on social media today and actually apologized for some of the misinformation that he did put out there via this article, because a lot of people were scratching their heads about what was put out here. It was just so fucking ridiculous, and I don't think
Not only did he apologize, JD, he called Sean Ross Sapp and said he got worked.
I mean, no shit. Like,
I don't, again, when that article came out, there's a lot of things that I talk about. I didn't touch that with a 10-foot pole because it just reeked of bullshit.
It did reek of bullshit. I'm trying to find his apology on Twitter. I don't really see it here. But anyway, he did apologize. I did see it earlier this afternoon. He did apologize to everybody on social media for the lack of information about what happened with these WrestleMania leaks. Of course he got worked. Like I said today in the video, I recorded this. I was so hot after the fucking Dynamite review last night. I said, let me hit record and let me get into this situation talking about this. I don't know how you can go out there and claim that you have sources within Triple H's circle told me. Who the fuck are these people? And why are they leaking anything to anybody so close to the Rumble, so close to the Chamber, and so close to WrestleMania?
You want me to read the statement for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
He goes, I apologize for the errors in yesterday's report. When posting these reports, the entirety of the information needs to be accurate. I'm not offering a spoiler, but an enthused speculation and analysis that all signs are pointing to Rhodes winning the Rumble. There is, however, some uncertainty with The Rock involved. So
sounds like a bunch of dirt sheet bullshit.
Yeah, and like they basically fired everybody from Sports Illustrated, kept the wrestling department and Justin, and I I applaud him for being valuable, but this was not it, man. You should, I know you take your risk, shoot your shot, but
that just goes to show you, Drew. I mean, a lot of people, especially in what we do, they want to be first, right? They want to be first for everything, and they don't give a shit if they're right or they're wrong. But when they're wrong, you're going to know you're wrong because everyone's going to let you know that you fucked up. If you're right, all right, you got one right. I mean, how much his credibility would have been added onto, that remains to be seen if he got something like this right. But, a lot of people, especially in my field, they tend to want to get a video out as soon as the news breaks. I'm like, I've always had the stance of like, let me wait a day or maybe even 3 days till all the information comes out and then talk about it, because the stories, especially in pro wrestling, man, and they're always evolving, man. There's one story and then there's a fucking addition to that story and then there's 3 other fucking variations of that story. It's like, come on, man. You can't go out there and be the first for everything, man. I'd rather be last and right and instead of first and wrong in this situation.
And I understand that. And that's just the nature of what we do and how we do it. I am not a journalist. I didn't go to journalism school. I'm a media personality who has a degree in business, and I have a minor in psychology. So, this being the first at times is great, but nobody pats you on the back and nobody retweets your stuff, or nobody says, hey, you called it when you get things right, but everybody comes at you when you get something wrong. And
Absolutely.
that's okay. That's okay. If that's, what I see some people who throw up that stupid Woody eyeball stuff that, and I've seen people put up the thing about how like, this, good call. These people don't have the balls to put their own face as their Twitter poster or picture. And they also don't have the balls to come on live television or YouTube or anything else and talk about things. They hide behind their Twitter account. And for that, good for you. And whatever.
I don't understand. Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, if you get it right and you get something right in this community, nobody will fucking congratulate you. They'll steal your report and then they won't even credit you. But when you get it wrong, it's like, oh, that guy's an asshole. His credibility's lost. Fuck that guy. I'm not getting my news from him anymore. So, I mean, I'm a fan of Justin's work. I think Justin is very good at what he does. I think he was absolutely and purposefully fed misinformation here because, like I said yesterday on social media, there is nobody in that fucking circle, which is very small right now, leaking plans for what may be the biggest WrestleMania of all time until we get Rock and Roman. But why would they, Drew? It's like, if you're in that circle, again, why would you betray Triple H's trust? And, I mean, you wouldn't have a job yesterday if that was the fucking case. Why are you going to go out there and do that?
Well, I just want to tell you that there's a lot of people within WWE who do this to see who's going to, the word that they use is stooge off, which means who's going to go and leak the information or go tell somebody or whatever else. There's been so many times where I've been told something and I'll text it to my buddies, the group chat that we have, and I'm like, yeah, this might happen, and then all of a sudden it doesn't, and it's like, maybe that person was testing somebody, and I think Justin was being tested, and unfortunately he failed.
Yeah, unfortunately. I know a lot of people are looking at CM Punk and Cody Rhodes to potentially win the Royal Rumble or the Chamber. They're looking at those two men specifically to go to WrestleMania, main event both nights of WrestleMania. WWE threw Gunther out there on Monday night in front of Seth Rollins for a particular reason. They wanted to throw the wrench of unpredictability into what everybody is already thinking going into the Royal Rumble. They may feel, Drew, that the Royal Rumble is a little predictable right now. So they added Gunther, and then they set up Justin. Unfortunately, he was the scapegoat in this situation. A lot of smoke and mirrors out there. He took the bait, fed the community this misinformation, just to kind of get WWE to throw the scent off where they actually are going for WrestleMania. Because right now, I honestly feel like, even though it does sit a little unpredictable with what's going to happen on Saturday, I think a lot of people are looking at Punk or Cody to win that Royal Rumble. And then at the end of that, I mean, it comes down to being slightly predictable.
Yeah, and I think Gunther doing that also, which I stated on TNT on Tuesday, was them, WWE, and Gunther saying, I got my eyes on a bigger prize, and that's the World Heavyweight Championship. And I think that was needed because Gunther's Intercontinental Championship run has been great, but he is above it now, and it's time for him to get to the next level. And I think this was the baby step. You got to crawl before you walk, and Gunther's doing that. And it does throw, a little bit of a monkey wrench into it, but the big thing is going to be Punk and Cody and what happens. And, again, whoever wins, or if they do the 94 tie, then
I saw that tweet from you yesterday. I'm like, I could see it. I wouldn't mind it, but I don't think that's the way we go here.
Well, it's how many years ago? A lot of fans
a
don't
lot
even
of years
know what
ago.
the hell that
20,
is.
Yeah, how many years ago? Yeah.
30 years ago?
Was it?
Was it? I don't know, 20, whatever. It's 30.
Come on, man.
It's, I there's so many things running through my head. 30 years ago, a lot of people don't even know that it exists. I know my kid doesn't. He didn't watch the 94 Rumble, but that would be the safe bet. But I think they'll probably give you a winner on Saturday, and then you'll know. You will absolutely know Seth's injury status and what their plans are. But under no circumstances anybody want to see a goddamn three-way with Cody, The Rock, and Roman.
No. And my next line of questioning here is, as I'm being bombarded by cats in the room. My next line of questioning to you is, if this report is correct and Gunther is the winner of the Royal Rumble and he wins and goes on to wrestle Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, are we getting Cody to win the Chamber to go wrestle Roman at WrestleMania, and we get those two matches headlining night 1 and night 2? And then what do we do with CM Punk? Where does he fit into the plans, and what does he do at WrestleMania if Justin's report is initially correct?
I would say that if Punk wins the Rumble, again, safe bet here, because, they could take the championship off of Seth if they need to, if the injury doesn't heal the way that they want it to heal or that he needs it to heal. Again, they're going to give Seth time off. They're not stripping him of that championship anytime soon, it seems. So, Punk winning the Rumble wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't, send shockwaves through the wrestling industry either. I think Cody winning the Rumble would be the holy shit. Are we actually getting Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania?
We should.
That would be that. And I agree with you. That would be the biggest holy shit moment. And I think the second, runner-up holy shit moment would be Gunther winning that Rumble. So I think what they did on Monday was solid. But to your main question, Cody winning the Chamber. Yeah. If Cody doesn't win the Rumble and then he's in the Chamber, I don't know how you get out of that without Cody winning the Chamber.
What does Punk do at WrestleMania?
If Punk doesn't win the Rumble, again, I think my speculation would be Punk wins the Rumble this year. Cody wins the Chamber. But they could flip that due to Seth's injury, because the Chamber gives Seth enough time to kind of see where he's at in his rehab and his progression.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's February 24th. So just flip it. Have Cody win the Rumble and have Punk win the Chamber. This way we can kind of get to where we need to get to, and we're not, chopping off our nose to save our face. Because if you go with Punk winning that Rumble and Seth's not ready or can't be ready, That's a big miss for WrestleMania 40.
That's a
big
problem.
miss.
That is a problem. And I said this yesterday, and I don't know. Rollins said he dodged a bullet. You know, he says he's going to be ready in about 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I don't know if that's legitimately true or not.
He's going to say all the right things, JD.
I know. And people were telling me, oh, he doesn't need surgery. It's going to heal on its own. Like, I'm not a fucking medical professional. You know, the first thing in my mind is like, all right, he's going to go into WrestleMania. He's clearly not going to be 100%, no matter how fucking fast he heals. So why do we want to risk him furthering an injury or doing something worse that hasn't happened yet at WrestleMania? Does he need surgery? Have you heard anything about Rollins needing surgery in this case, or is this something that's going to heal on its own?
I know it was suggested to him to get surgery,
Yes.
but I think if he got the surgery, then he would be out for WrestleMania, or it would be very, very close. So I think what they're going to do is try and rehab the injury as best they can, get him to about, because realistically, let's be honest, no one's 100%.
No.
Nobody's 100%. So you can get him to, like 75, 80%. And have the match at Mania. And then I think Seth goes off and gets the surgery, and you probably don't see Seth until SummerSlam, which is fine. He's had a very long run with the World Heavyweight Championship, and it's been a good one. He's done what you guys have wanted him to do, because you guys clearly want a champion on your show every week, defending the title or making appearances every week, which in my opinion dilutes the character and the championship. But I think that's what they do. I don't think Seth gets the surgery, although it's needed, until after WrestleMania. So I think you're spot on.
Yeah, I think if that's the case and they want him to go and get surgery, I think Gunther's the right guy for the job. Even though he's the Intercontinental Champion, we could do a WrestleMania 6 thing where Gunther holds both championships till Monday, drops the IC title, we have a tournament, and then crown a new champion via that mean. I know
you could. And the other thing here is that, there's been, listen, they did the whole Becky handed over the championship to Asuka, I believe, that one time, because she was pregnant and she had to go away. There's so many things that WWE, again, it's entertainment based. They could write and do whatever they want. It's just got to be half logical.
Yeah.
So Cody winning the Rumble gives, listen, I don't want to see it either. I love Cody. My kid loves him. Solid dude, great performer, but I don't think a lot of people want to see Cody Rhodes go back to back that are my demographic or my age. So, I think Punk is the safe bet. But I think they're going to do Cody on Saturday because of what transpired with Seth Rollins and his injury. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people don't want that, but I think Cody's going to win the Rumble, because if Seth's not ready and you put Punk in that spot, it's just bad business.
I know you did not agree with my tweet yesterday where I initially tweeted about this article and was upset about Cody not finishing his story. That's what Justin Barrasso put in the Sports Illustrated piece that he put out yesterday. I am against this going on any further for the simple reason of I think the fans are ready for a full-time champion. I think it's time to burn the Universal Championship. I think we give Cody the WWE Championship and we make him our full-time champion. I'm not saying we need Cody on TV every week. I think a lot of what I say sometimes gets misinterpreted. And I know where you're coming from as far as Roman Reigns and the prestige he brings to that championship. He doesn't need to be there every single month. Cody doesn't need to be there every single week. He doesn't have to defend the title every single week. But I think fans, Drew, are ready for a full-time champion. And I think Roman Reigns holding the championship past WrestleMania is going to harm the championship. It's going to harm his overall, I guess, legacy and this title reign. And SmackDown, man, it is not thriving with nobody at the top there, man. There's nothing to sink your teeth into on Friday night because now we have two part-time champions.
Well, okay, yes, the two part-time champions to that statement is correct, but nobody's done more for that United States Championship in terms of visibility and marketability than Logan Paul. And we all knew that was the case when he was fighting for the United States Championship, and he's under a WWE contract. It's not like they just handed a celebrity a championship. And I hate to tell everybody, but Logan Paul can fucking go. A lot better than a lot of some of your favorite guys and girls can.
He could.
So go stack marbles on the freeway. But again, Logan Paul at WrestleMania defending that championship against an LA Knight is big money. It's box office. Look at what Logan Paul and Kevin Owens did today at the Performance Center. You don't think that's got people talking? You don't think that's going to get a bunch of social media impressions? I mean, come on. So the Logan Paul thing, okay. But I think you guys need to see the bigger picture. The Roman Reigns stuff, Okay, you really feel like the Undisputed Championship is just no good?
I got a cat. I got a cat on my desk. If you guys see a fucking tail in the camera. Listen, man, you know, what does SmackDown have at the top of the card? If Roman holds the championship until SummerSlam and breaks Hogan's record and goes through the summer as champion, what does SmackDown have at the top of the card? What?
Who is worthy, JD?
Cody.
Realistically, I understand that, but Cody's on Raw. Like, don't further prove my point here. If Cody wins the Rumble,
Cody wins the Rumble, he goes to SmackDown.
Fine. And I said I think that's going to happen. Fine. But right now, the only two people that are even half worthy of sitting at that table and even dethroning Roman on SmackDown would be Orton and Styles, and they just came back. So it's got to be Cody. And we got to get there.
I don't think my frustration has anything to do with your tweet. My frustration has a lot to do with, you know, people, The Rock and Roman needs to take place at WrestleMania. I'm like, all right, so let's think about this theoretically. If Roman and Rock takes place at this year's WrestleMania, the Universal Championship is going to be on the line. If Cody doesn't finish his story, the Universal Championship is going to be on the line. Roman is going to win.
Accurate.
Okay? Rock is not winning the Universal Championship. So why do you want a predictable outcome that's going to leave you unhappy at WrestleMania? Instead of doing Rock and Roman next year at WrestleMania 41 when it's just the head of the table being on the line and they can get the match done without ruining anything else, why don't they just wait to do it, crown Cody this year, and look at all the keywords, Drew. We talked about it on Tuesday. Rock wants to get this match in front of a global audience, and he wants to play the long game. You know, from where we sit now till April is not really a long game to me. Global audience. He's going to want that Netflix deal to be ever growing and ever expanding. Yeah. And I mentioned this last night on my video. You know, a lot of people really aren't calling this out. John Cena was at the O2 Arena, Money in the Bank. Didn't he call for WrestleMania in the United Kingdom? Maybe they do WrestleMania 41 in the UK, and we get that match happening over there. No,
I mean,
it's not going to happen, man. Whatever.
No, I'm not saying that. I just don't think. I'm not saying the WrestleMania won't be in the UK. I think that's happening now more than ever. I think the chances are higher. And I think John Cena was doing that because, you know, he wants, that crowd deserves and wants a WrestleMania there. And obviously that got approved and it gets the hype up and everything else like that. It also helps people, cities, states, countries bid higher for WrestleMania. If London wants it, the UK wants it, you got to pay for it. WrestleMania is no longer something where they go and they rent out. You got to pay for WrestleMania to come to your city, your state, your country. That's what happens now. So John Cena is out there. Show us the money. We'll show you WrestleMania. He's like Jerry Maguire. So I agree with you. The long game for The Rock and Roman would be fantastic for me. Absolutely fantastic for me. As my phone keeps ringing here because we're talking about Rock and Roman.
Who's got a problem? Please, someone refute what I said, man.
No. It's not about you. This is probably stuff on WWE and the Rumble. But you know, I find it hard to believe The Rock's not going to be involved in WrestleMania 40. You know, I can't put my name attached to something where I don't know his role. But I think that they're going to look for I'll say this. And this will be clipped, whatever. I think they're going to look for a lot of good press coming off of what happened today. And The Rock does provide that. Also, Cody finishing his story could provide it too. I would love to see this year-long build. They did it for WrestleMania into 27 to 28 with Rock and Cena. I would love it. But I think we'll have to wait and see. Again, you know, you talk about we need a full-time champion. It dilutes the championship and it dilutes the character. I see, not so much you, I see a lot of people on Twitter, X, talking about how, oh my God, Seth Rollins again. If Roman Reigns was on TV every week, people would be bored and sick of it. They really would. And they get sick of him when he shows up and they're like, how long is this guy going to hold the title for? Name one person on that brand that is worthy to defeat Roman Reigns. There is none right now.
Well, that's what I say about Gunther. Everybody's like, oh, Chad Gable, oh, Ricochet, this guy. Like, there's nobody worthy of taking the title off. I get what you're saying, but we got to do it's, you know, when, you know, you're watching the end of a movie and then it's like, all right, that should have been the end. And then you got another 45 minutes to go. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's how we feel about Cody Rhodes. That's how we feel about WrestleMania. I mean, it's got to end. Should have ended last year. And I was one of the leaders in asking, Cody needs adversity. That's great. I didn't want the adversity that Vince gave us last year. But now here we are. Looking back at it, should have happened then. It didn't. Now we're doing the same thing again this year, and people are still asking for something else. Nah. I can't sit here and ask for anything else, man. It's either Cody or bust at WrestleMania this year. That's just my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, I think that what happens at WrestleMania, I think Seth, I do believe Seth will give it a go, and I think Seth comes out of there looking like Cody did after Hell in the Cell when he defends that championship. Yeah. I truly believe that. I think he'll get it's not going to be as graphic and all that other stuff, but he will get a hero's welcome, and he will also get a hero's ending when he drops the championship to whomever. But, Seth is going to go out on his sword, and it'll be a big moment. But again, you could argue with me all you want, you and everybody else. If Roman was on SmackDown every week or he defended the championship, once a month, people would be sick of it. He's an attraction. It's must-see television when he shows up. And I can't name one person besides CM Punk right now who is must-see television on WWE Raw besides Cody when Cody wasn't on every goddamn week. And now even people are like, okay, Cody's on the show, but what the hell is he doing? Guys, make up your mind. You want him on there or you don't?
Roman, I agree with you there. Everything just feels a lot more important when he's there, but I just don't think he needs to operate with the World Championship anymore. I think his story is towards The Rock, and The Rock is towards him, and I think we need to get rid of that title off of him and tell that story properly. Yeah, it's coming. I know. It's coming, man. It's just got to be as soon as possible. For you. Yeah.
I have a question for you. I saw a picture circulating. Was this shown on WWE TV of Hulk Hogan holding a young Roman Reigns? Did they show this on WWE TV, or was that something that was just like found and somebody posted?
I did not see that. I mean, I did see it on Twitter. I don't know if that was photoshopped or not. I didn't really.
Well, I don't think it's Photoshop. My thing is was this, photo, did it make its rounds on WWE TV? Because if that's the case, then, man, I don't know. We might see Roman roll through WrestleMania.
I hope not. But Cody did mention The Rock in an interview. He was interviewed by Bleacher Report. He says, you mentioned the great one, The Rock. Nothing but respect for him. I went and saw Jungle Cruise. I'm a Rock fan. I don't think he's the type that would come in and meddle with a story that's been told over the past 2 years. I think he's probably up to something else, but you never know with WWE. I'll be watching just like everyone else when I'm not wrestling, is what he said. Fair.
Okay. Well, I mean, listen, CM Punk told Cody on Monday Night Raw, like, a bigger, badder star comes in and steals your spotlight, kid. And he said it was him, but I think we all know who he was talking about.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. Of course he was talking about The Rock. I'm being attacked by a cat on my desk here. Sorry. If anybody is like, what the fuck's going on here? I mean, what do you want me to do? I love animals, man. Sorry.
It's all right.
Moving on, Drew. What else do you want to talk about in regards to the news that happened? I know Kevin Patrick was in the news. They got rid of him. They made that official today. WWE Network outside of the U.S. will be folding at the end of 2024 was in the news today. And then I know you and I both watched Dynamite. I was live with Jesse covering Dynamite last night, man. Dismal crowd last night. God. Lifeless. It was awful. I got a story here on AEW changing up its live event touring strategy. Apparently, this is coming from Dave Meltzer and The Observer. So wherever you want to go, let's just follow your lead here, man, until we wrap this thing up.
I know that you guys reviewed Dynamite last night, but I wanted to touch on a couple aspects of it. I thought the crowd was terrible besides the main event. And this was the first time I felt that I enjoyed the opening segment, but the security thing looked like absolute shit. And realistically,
it was very forced.
Yeah, I think AEW really needs to like go back and watch their past two shows and be like, okay, this is what we need to do, because I felt like last night was, although a decent show, took a lot of steps back.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not, listen, Paige is awesome. Swerve is awesome. Samoa Joe is awesome. And I'm going to always love what they do. But last night's show, to me, was 3 steps back from the previous week. The previous week was great. The Hook and Samoa Joe show was great. This week's show was not great. And I know you and I have talked about the strategy for AEW to get back in line with where they were, man. Their whole basis was like live energy. And they're not doing that, and they're not anywhere close to that right now. For everybody, I know we got a bunch of new people in here, man. While I get this cat outside of my office because it's very distracting right now, why don't you tell people what you think AEW needs to do as far as getting that energy back to their live shows? Because right now it's just not working.
Yeah, I think AEW needs to focus on storytelling, builds. I feel like they have that with Hangman, Swerve, and Joe, and even Hook. Like I said, when they had the match with Hook and Joe, it was all about what you do the next week with Hook. And I felt like they did that very well. Besides the security thing, I think saying, hey, I don't know when and where, but me and you are going to see each other again. I thought that was fantastic. And they shook hands, and the security thing was garbage. The one thing I do want to, touch on and ask you about, what do you think of the Young Bucks? And we have Sting and Darby now challenging for the AEW Tag Team Championships. It seems to me, JD, that Sting and Darby are going to win those tag team titles. And then it seems like they're going to drop the titles in Sting's final match to the Young Bucks. That's my thought.
That's exactly where I think it's going. I actually pitched that several weeks ago when we had the Bucks come out at Daly's place. I figured Sting would end up as a tag team champion, possibly in his last match. I thought the Bucks would maybe be champions going in, and then they beat the Bucks only to vacate the titles because Sting is retiring. But I quite like that Sting and Darby win the titles from Ricky Starks and Big Bill, and the Young Bucks hand Sting his first loss in AEW, take the titles, and retire Sting. I think a lot of people are going to look at it as being selfish, because I don't think a lot of people really like the Bucks for what they did with the whole CM Punk situation.
It's a lot of heat.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of heat, and I think that's what they're going for. Is it going to be genuine, legit TV heat where people just don't like their characters but love their work? I don't know. I mean, I may be one of those few people, but I do think that a lot of people are going to look at this and thumbs it down just because of how the Bucks handled the entire CM Punk situation and let him walk into WWE. Here he is, here they are retiring Sting and winning the titles, and it's all about them. It's like almost nothing happened. It's like, I think people are going to start chattering that they're making light of the situation, even though they are still feeling the effects of CM Punk walking out of AEW. I think they're still feeling the effects of Cody walking out, but now they're both the two biggest stars on Monday night, and I don't think it's something AEW is going to get over anytime soon.
No, and they're telling a deeper story with the Bucks. The Bucks are kind of being those manipulative, maniacal, diabolical EVPs that everyone perceives them to be, when realistically that's not the case at all with Matt and Nick, like in real life. But hey, why not play up on it? Art imitates life. Let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it. And they're going to beat Sting in his final match to take the AEW Tag Team Champions, and people are gonna all over the internet gonna be like, "Oh, it's abuse of power," all this other stuff. It's gonna get them great heat, so I'm all for it.
But realistically, Drew, what else did they have to do though? The Bucks. I mean, it's like they can't go back to their like fucking posing and super kick party. I mean, like you said, playing into what happened is probably the best way. They had no other direction outside of what they're doing now.
You ready? I'm gonna book this, okay? Because I think this is fun. All right. So we have Edge and Christian, Adam Copeland and Christian, and their feud. Tony, I appreciate what you're doing. It's the smart move here because we don't know how many bumps Copeland or Christian have left in their card. So you're getting the first feud for Copeland out of the way with Christian, which is probably, I would say, 80% of the reason why he came over to AEW in the first place. They are continuing this feud. I think the feud needs to end at Revolution, okay, between Copeland and Christian. I think it does. And then I think, whoever wins that match, they move on. The Bucks beat Sting and Darby for those tag team championships. The Bucks hold those tag team championships for a long time, all the way up until All In. And what a mega dream match to have Copeland and Christian take on the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championships at Wembley Stadium in London.
I could see
That's what I would do.
I could see it. I think I do agree with you in one sense. I think the Christian and Adam Copeland storyline, what is this going to be? Their third match now, I think, at Revolution. Yeah. I think that's it. I think at that point, we turn the page, we move to the next chapter, and I think we get, like you said, the story of reconciliation. Copeland becoming friends with Christian and them rekindling their best friendship, and I think them becoming a tag team is the next chapter in the story. Absolutely. I could absolutely see that playing out. And I think that's something both those men, all four of those men actually do want anyway.
why not? You have to, because realistically, like we all know that Copeland and Christian Copeland off, TV wants to team with Christian one more time. I think that was part of the deal, maybe a little bit of a run. And again, that tag match, I know the word is tossed around a lot, dream match, but that is. And if for some reason you could agree to do a ladder match, holy shit, I mean, come on. So for me, I think that's how I would do it. In light of all this too, I just want to give a shout out to, again, probably not watching, but I want to give a shout out to Paul Levesque, Tony Khan, and others who are in power right now, who have provided safe place for people to work and for people to have employment and kind of feel safe. So shout out to Tony Khan for doing that with AEW, and shout out to Paul Levesque for doing that with Triple H and everybody, or with WWE and everyone who's involved there, because I think that's something that is not really talked about today. And it's something that needs to be, because what we saw today with Vince McMahon and what was going on is complete and utter abuse of power, allegedly. And it's sad. So I'm thankful that these men and women have two places that are deemed safe and comfortable to work in.
No matter what's being said on social media about one place or the other, because you don't really know, but they provide us hours upon hours of weekly entertainment, and that's the most important thing for us. It's none of our business what happens elsewhere, but what happens on TV. We got WWE Network news here. I know we talked about this on Tuesday with the whole Netflix Raw deal. I'm not really surprised by this. WWE Network outside of the U.S. will be folding at the end of 2024. Meltzer says that at the end of the year, with only the international media rights deal, not with Netflix being in India, Australia, Japan, and the Middle East, the WWE Network will be closing outside of the United States. In March of 2026, when Peacock's deal ends, the U.S. aspect of it, which one would think Netflix would want, given that Netflix is going to take over that everywhere else in the world, but pretty much the United States, and I think wherever else they've already signed it. I think Middle East might be another one. India might be that as well. And the network itself, which does exist outside the United States, will be folding at the end of the year, and Netflix will pick up the content. So a lot of people have asked, will they pick up all the content? All the archives. I don't know, says Meltzer, but they will be the sole source of that. The archive content of all the old territories and all the old stuff that was on the old network, that will move to Netflix outside the United States in January. Pretty much what we talked about on Tuesday, Drew.
Yeah. And again, I think that this Raw deal was looked at with Netflix as the 500-pound gorilla, which it's $500 million. And that's what Nick Khan wanted. But there's a lot more that goes into that. And I explained that in detail on our show on Tuesday. There's a lot of international rights. And that, that's the market, guys. I'm sorry. We live in the States. Me and JD do, but the money for content and everything else like that for WWE and it's international. That's where they generate the most. And I know a lot of the live events are here, but if you're talking about media rights, they really love their international market, and that's the right way to go about it. And again, wrestling, sports entertainment fans are the most loyal fans on the planet, and they will always find your content. I put that tweet out too.
Yep.
Like, we need to stop thinking that, well, that's it, they're going to Netflix. You are so loyal. You are so full of shit. You'll be there. Okay. Yeah. They know their demographic. They're not dumb. They know their audience. So I think Netflix is going to be all encompassing very soon of WWE content. I think that's the way they go.
There is two more pieces of news, and then
Sure.
we could maybe get into the super chats. Logan Paul actually signed the new WWE contract extension. Logan Paul announced on Instagram that WWE renewed his contract before showing off some footage of him taking bumps in the ring and hyping up his upcoming match with Kevin Owens for the United States title at the Royal Rumble on Saturday. He was shown training at the Performance Center, and then they actually filmed a little angle where they both brawled inside the Performance Center, which I actually love when they do that type of thing. It just adds a nice little element to it. It really is kind of shrouded in, is it a work or is it a shoot? I like that type of stuff. But Logan Paul signed an extension with WWE, which I'm not surprised by, as long as he can continue going. And most importantly, if he is going to remain interested in doing this, I personally am happy having him because he's fucking incredible.
Yeah. I mean, Logan Paul, like the little things like you talked about, but the little things that he did just to enhance the feud with Kevin Owens today at the Performance Center was fantastic. And again, people are like, well, that was on social media. Yeah, well, you'll see it. You'll see, because it'll be on SmackDown.
Absolutely.
It was first shown here on X or Instagram or whatever, it's TikTok, whatever it was. And it's just a nice little sprinkle on that feud. And Logan Paul's good at that. I mean, John Cena was on Logan Paul's show, and John Cena said he wants to be done in 3 years from professional wrestling. So you probably get 3 more matches out of him. So Logan Paul's done a lot for that championship, and it's a smart hire for WWE.
Yeah. And then finally, guys, Kevin Patrick. I was going to say Nick Patrick. That would have been a blast from the past.
The NWO rep.
Kevin Patrick. He was actually completely let go by WWE today. He's no longer employed by the company. Released today in a statement on social media. Kevin Patrick. It's not my fault. Listen, man, I said on Twitter today, man, all I wanted was him removed from commentary. I didn't want him completely unemployed. But his real name, Kevin Egan, joined the company in March 2021. He worked as a backstage correspondent for Monday Night Raw, as a play-by-play commentator for Main Event, and then host of Raw Talk. They moved him to play-by-play commentator on Raw before moving him to SmackDown, and then moving Michael Cole and Wade Barrett over to Raw, leaving him all by himself. They determined at that point, I don't know why it took them that long to realize that he wasn't the right man for the job, but he is no longer with the company. Now, he did have work as a play-by-play as Ireland's national broadcaster, where he covered soccer events at the 2004 Olympics. I saw a clip of him commentating over soccer today on social media, and he fit in there very well. He just didn't fit the nature of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. You know, not everybody's cut out for the job. Some people are, some people aren't. Unfortunately, he wasn't. How do you feel about this, Drew? I know Michael Cole is going to be taking over duties tomorrow night. He's going to be taking over duties at the Royal Rumble. And right now, they don't really have a solid replacement for him
allegedly
on Friday night, allegedly. And they might, but we don't really know who it is. But he's gone, and a lot of people are blaming social media for his demise.
I just think Kevin Patrick he just wasn't, my cup of espresso. He wasn't a lot of people's cup of espresso. And I just, he tried, and I like a lot. It just wasn't his forte. I wish him the best. But I do see Pat McAfee jumping in there.
You did say that on Tuesday. You still sticking with Pat McAfee, huh?
Yeah, I like Pat Mac. I think Pat Mac's going to be there. I think Pat will be in the Rumble, maybe. And I think Pat will probably maybe do the announcing. So we'll see.
There's this. We talked about this on Tuesday, too. Wrestling Observer Dave Meltzer brought up Brandon Thurston's report on WrestleNomics that Raw won't air on USA Network after the deal expires later this year in October. WWE's planning to announce where it will air from October 1st through December 31st. Where do you think they land? Because I know I predicted that USA, with the partnership that they have and SmackDown being over there anyway, starting in October, that they would end up doing like a handshake deal or a short-term agreement with USA Network to have Raw take place in those months leading to the Netflix deal. Where do you think they end up now?
Realistically, that Raw deal doesn't start till 2025 January.
Yeah.
It's not happening tomorrow. So WWE is going to program it into your brain where they are. They're going to be on Netflix. Get your subscription, blah, blah, blah. That's going to be hit from now until January 2025. I have a funny feeling that WWE will be on a streaming platform from the months of October to that January start date for Raw on Netflix. I said that on the show. I said the USA partnership could happen, the extension. I just didn't see it being viable because they really want to make sure that people understand that once Raw is done from cable television, it is done. So I believe that you'll see Raw probably on Peacock. I mean, I think Peacock's going to pay a lot of money for that. And here's the deal. Nick Khan is smart. If he can get 2 bags, he's going to get 2 bags. He's going to get 2 bags.
Nick Khan is going to get 2 bags. I agree.
Big bag Nick, baby.
Yeah. I could absolutely see it. We said this on Tuesday as well. Like, even though it is a NBC Universal, streaming platform, and they're still going to be working with NBCU, and like I said, SmackDown's over there, they want to get people familiarized with how Raw is going to look on a streaming service. And being that they have access to Peacock, being that everything is over there already anyway, it just makes a great marriage there. So they're going to get people used to it by that.
Yeah, they already do live content on Peacock, so it's 2 birds, 1 stone, 2 bags for Nicky Khan and WWE.
There you go.
What you're going to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all. Unless you got news. You got anything else?
No,
we got nothing. We covered everything?
Yep. I
can go make a gin and tonic in 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, CNN just put out the lawsuit about Vince. I mean, this is getting wild.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
The party's over.
Gin and tonic for you. I am going to what am I gonna do? I'm gonna eat. I had some dinner, but I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna have some more water. People were always asking about my routine. I put that out, and I think I'm gonna go watch some probably Fargo, or there's this new documentary I urge you guys to go watch. It's called Pepsi Where's My Plane. It's actually unbelievably good on Netflix.
There you go. I don't know what I'm watching. I know what I'm drinking, but I don't know what I'm watching. I finished Ted. It was only 7 episodes.
Me too.
You
got to give me one of those. What the
Yeah. I just started Succession. I may actually finish season 1, so I'm loving what I'm watching there so far. So that's probably my night. But man, we had 6,000 in here, man. Who expected? Well, I mean, I didn't. Listen, I'm not shocked. I'm just like on a Thursday night, random. It's like, hey, it's 6,000 people tonight.
Guys, you want to give $2 $1? I'll answer any questions you want on this, and so will JD on this legal document here. Go for it.
Yeah.
Whatever question you have, we'll ask.
Whatever you guys want to ask, man, fire away. I appreciate you guys very much, man. You're making this Royal Rumble week unbelievable. We had 6,000 in here tonight for the Vince McMahon discussion. Hopefully, we gave you what you came for, but we're going to get into the super chats right now. Follow Drew on social media at Andrew Baydala on X. Follow me on X at JD from NY206. I think we may be doing a Rumble preview on Saturday. Is that correct?
Saturday morning, my man.
Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, noontime Eastern. We'll be live exclusively on X. I will set that up for you guys. So if you guys got X, we'll be over there. The reason I'm doing that is because I don't really find that the reviews or the predictions, their shelf life is dead after the stream is over. So after that, we're going right into the Rumble, and nobody's going to give a shit about what we talked about that already happened on Saturday night. So we'll be doing that, and we'll have fun with that on Saturday afternoon. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. We're nearing 2,000 likes. Can we get another 170 for 2,000, man? Would love to see that number. Super chats are open. Get them on in. And please go check out all the other content on the channel. Plenty of it. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button down below as well. JB Comrade with a new membership. Thank you, JB. Eddie Hazard with a 20. This makes Stephanie's thank you Vince promo all the more cringe. I like to think that when she finally resigned, it was because she knew and was racked with guilt and couldn't live with herself. F the Fed, says Eddie Hazard.
I mean, I think that statement, besides F the Fed, is right. I mean, I think Stephanie knew majority of what was coming out, and she found it appalling and decided, hey, you want to know what? Love you, Dad, but same for me.
What about Kevin Dunn? We didn't talk about Kevin Dunn. Do you think Kevin Dunn knew the storm was coming and he got out of harm's way before anything came upon him?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep. Shocked that Kevin wasn't named in some of this stuff. Not that I know or have any sort of, again, my opinion. I mean, Kevin Dunn, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis were thick as thieves.
Yeah.
But maybe Kevin was one of those guys who was like, no thanks.
Maybe he knew, but he stayed away and minded his own business. But he was loyal to Vince through and through. Michael Krause, $2 super chat. Good day, JD. Glad that there is a stream. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Michael. Destin with a new membership. Dooley76 with a new membership. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining. Lord Jake Coyle with a $2 super chat. Think Drew made a good decision selling his shares.
Oh, yeah. I sold 92 out of my 100 shares of TKO when it was at like 116 a share. And I still have those 8 shares, but I'll hold on to them for a little bit. But yeah, I don't think the stock price is going to like plummet.
Someone in the chat said, are you not going to address the response from Vince? We talked about the response from Vince. You just got here late.
Yeah, and realistically, like it's not even news. I mean, Vince basically just said he denies it. Like that's what I expected. I expected Vince McMahon to vehemently deny this because he doesn't want to be let out of his contract. And I'm sure TKO Endeavor's attorneys are on that right now, and I expect a decision imminently.
Some people are asking what happened with Vince. I was late to the stream. Guys.
That's a troll. Come on now.
Guys, come on now. Christy Wilson with a $4.99. Hey, Vince, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. I'll open the door for him, Christy. Thank you. Rosie Posey with a 5. I am in the UK, and it's 1:40 in the morning. I had to stay up and listen to listen to your take on this. Well, thank you, Rosie. Appreciate you. True appreciate
That's awesome.
Dynamite ECP with a $5.99. Hey, JD, I'm watching you since 2014. I'm staying up all night here in Germany just to hear what you guys have to say. 2024 is already a mess. OTS for life. Thank you, Dynamite.
You know what? It's really not. It is a mess, but I think we're starting to get what we've always wanted, which is the right people in the right positions for WWE, and we're going to see a better product because of it.
Yeah. Mike Lee with the 10 months. Hey, am I going through deja vu? You were live on Tuesday night, JD. No, Mike. You are seeing us live and in the flesh. Eddie Walls, new member. Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate you, brother. Phantom with a 100 in Canadian. I appreciate you, Phantom. Thank you for showing up once again. Big. Just got here. This is horrid. So much of this crap going on and people hiding the truth for so long. I feel for everybody's involvement in this, minus obviously Vince and John Laurinaitis, but the families of all the victims, and it's just crazy, man. It's only the first month of the new year, and we're already knee-deep in this shit. It's crazy. Hopefully the right decision's made, though, this week, as soon as possible. Optic with a 5. WWE as a whole needs to be investigated. Who else was involved and who else knew about this and didn't say anything?
They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're not going to probe the entire WWE because realistically, like, the people that were named are the people that were named.
Yep.
And both of them are gone besides one who wasn't named.
Yeah. Michelle with a 2. Think Brock, though not named, is ruined by this. I think, like Drew said, Brock's got an ironclad contract. Whatever he's owed, he's going to get. And this is probably his last year, or his last contract with the company, I should say.
It would shock me if they released Lesnar.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if that was going to happen and they would have just named him.
We'll find out if plans are altered, because I'm pretty certain he had a big role, at least in the Rumble match itself. Jason with a 5. The fishy part is Brock storming out of SmackDown. How do you boys feel about the WWE management team after knowing that they knew about this shit? I do remember that episode of SmackDown. I think it was the first night that Vince got or had to retire and step away. Brock and Vince's relationship is rather bizarre, and it's not something I really want to deep dive into, but they have a close personal friendship. That's all I could say. So Brock was never going to want to do business with anybody else if Vince was gone. It's not.
A lot of people do from that old guard. Taker.
Yeah.
Brock, Rock, Austin, all that stuff. But I will say that, the evidence, the timeline, yeah, sure. Again, the speculation does lead everyone to believe that it is Brock Lesnar, but we'll have to wait and see.
JC720, 18 months, no words. What the fuck? Controlling my anger. There's nothing more you can say, man. We just wait for the right decision to be made by TKO. Erasure with a 5. Hey, guys, can I get both of your thoughts on Patrick Clark's interview with Van Vliet? Thank you. Erasure, I have not watched the entire thing yet. I watched 20 minutes on the way home from the gym yesterday. I will finish it hopefully tomorrow, but from what I watched, he sounds like he's owned up to his mistakes, and he sounds a little bit more mature than I last saw him.
Chris is a friend and one of the best in the business, but
he's killing right now.
Yeah, Patrick Clark, I'm glad that he's remorseful and sorry for what he did, but I think it's 3 years too late.
Yeah. Will he get a second chance? Never say never in pro wrestling. I mean, I think you guys know that better than anybody, but I don't think he comes back, and I don't think WWE gives him a chance, especially with what's going on now. Forget about it. Lane with a 5. Hey, JD and Drew, you guys are freaking fantastic. So glad you guys came live to address this. Hope you guys continue to grow TNT forever. Thank you, Lane. We will be here, man.
Thank you. Yep.
Paul David with a 10.
When there's 6,000 people in here.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Paul David, thank you for the 10, man. Hey, guys, on the lighter side, who's reviewing the Super Bowl on February 11th? This guy, not me, though.
I will go live on Twitter Spaces after the Super Bowl, and we can talk about it for a little bit. Sure.
There you go. Chelsea with 21 months. What's up, OTS? Sorry for being away for personal reasons. Enjoy the night. Have fun. Old fashions for life. Thank you, Chelsea. Appreciate you being here for 21 months. 3 months away from a nice golden microphone emote. AEW Mark, $2 Super Chat. Triple H should be countable. He's part of the committee. No. Now, Triple H has nothing to do with this. Come on.
Yeah, no.
You should not ask him to clean up Vince McMahon's mess.
Not to mention that, I mean, Triple H was never named.
No.
Stop it.
Jimmy Fingers 19 with a $20.19 Super Chat. Think of how weird we all thought it was when Vince was doing that strange kiss my ass creative 25 years ago. Where do you think that comes from? Got to be some deep-rooted trauma from his youth that made him rotten to the core.
Yeah, there's a lot of unsettling things that seems like Vince McMahon did in his...
I'll tell you what, man, it's going to make you look at all those things we saw during the Attitude Era a little bit differently after reading what we read today. I'll tell you that.
And that's the thing. Like, it just seems like they're going to erase Vince from majority of the TV history.
Yeah. Flamio with a 10. Respect the fuck out of you guys. Not reading the whole article. Can't wait for your next space stream on X. I was at the gym when I saw the tweet and couldn't stop reading everything. It's disgusting. Yeah, Flamio. I wanted to make sure I read through most of it. I do agree with Drew that we did not have to read most of it, but I wanted to give you guys the gist of how fucking disgusting it was and how bad of a situation this is. But I think you guys got it.
And I'm sorry for cutting you off, man, but I just felt like we were going down a road that was just, I mean.
Yeah, and listen, I get why Drew did it, and I know you guys are probably thinking, let JD be himself, because if he was by himself, he would have read the entire thing, and I probably would have, but Drew's right. We don't need to. I was never going to get into the fucking, I don't want to sit on here and say those things and read those words, because I don't speak like that, and I know you guys are going to fucking look at me like, what the fuck? Who else is watching? And then YouTube. It picks up on keywords. AI is going to pick up on the keywords. We may end up getting demonetized, so I don't want to go through that bullshit.
Right, and let me pull back the curtain a little bit here for you guys and girls. I called JD to make sure he's okay. I called JD to talk to him on a personal level. I also don't want some, you guys got mad. I don't want some jerk off clipping it and altering it and making it seem like JD said something he didn't. Yeah. My first priority is to look out for not only myself, but my partner here.
Yeah.
And I just felt it was going down a path that it didn't need to go down. I do have some breaking news here.
Okay. Let me shut the music off. Hold on. This is breaking news.
I do believe that TKO Endeavor is making an announcement tomorrow. From everything that I'm gathering, it seems like that announcement is happening tomorrow. So get ready for tomorrow.
I will have a tweet ready scheduled for 9 a.m. Ready to go.
You go.
Hopefully. The best day in WWE history? Is that what we're going to be celebrating?
For some, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for some, yeah. Thank you, guys. Flamio, thank you, man. Cake with a $2 super chat. AEW, all roads lead home. No, Cody Rhodes is not going back to AEW. Sorry.
No. Sorry. Not happening.
Corey with a $10 super chat. See that MJF posted a picture in Tampa. Yes, MJF is not in Tampa.
Just like Sasha Mercedes posted that picture of her in the Jacksonville airport, and you guys ate it up. I'm not saying you guys here, but people on social media. Do you think that Tony Wallbucks doesn't have the dollars to send a private jet to Mercedes' location?
Nobody's heard from MJF since World's End. He's going to want to make sure people keep MJF in the back of his mind. Hey, where's the hot action this week? It's in Tampa. I'll show everybody I'm in Tampa when he's not. Right. He's in Oyster Bay fucking sitting on his couch with his cat watching some Thursday night TV. Give me a break.
And he's rehabbing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Max. Get better. Long Island strong, right? But Mercedes, again, it's for all you knuckleheads who want to be like, you said she's going to AEW. Still believe she is.
Yeah. Allison with a 4 months. I like when you and BC and that one other guy hung out together. You guys are good characters together. You mean Ango? Yeah, that was fun. We may do that some point again. Thank you, Allison. Cody with a 10. Nobody wants to see a effing absentee champion for the next 4 months when we went through it for 4 years. Enough already. I'm over it. JD from NY206 on Drew Spaces. 100% agree.
All right. You're entitled to your opinion.
Lord J. Coyle with a 2. Bacardi isn't happy about the emergency stream. No.
Nope.
Packing heat. Thank you for the super chat, man. $5. I say Cody versus Roman at Mania. We get a ref bump, which Rock then comes in, counts to 3 for Cody. Then Roman can say Rock turned his back on Roman and the family.
Stop. Okay. Here's the thing. Here's the deal. If Cody's going to have his moment at WrestleMania, it needs to be Cody celebrating with the World Championship, finally accomplishing that dream. I don't need Rock staring down Roman. I don't need Rock raising Cody's hand. It's got to be Cody's moment. If some of the Bloodline members want to get involved in the match and The Rock, jumps the barricade and, Rock bottoms them and Cody gets the win and then The Rock goes back, fine. But The Rock cannot be the focal point of Cody's culminating moment at WrestleMania.
No, Rock can be at WrestleMania and thwart off the bloodline, and Cody beats Roman in the ring with the regular referee counting 1, 2, 3. That's the way we set up Rock versus Roman, and we move on to WrestleMania 41.
Yeah, I don't want Rock anywhere near Cody's celebratory moment.
No.
He doesn't, Cody needs it. Rock's had it.
Cake with a $2 super chat. AEW's audio mixing has gotten worse under Mansory.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, yeah, last night was a little rough around the edges, just in every aspect. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
The crowd was terrible. They were dead. I mean, they got up for the Copeland-Suzuki match, but other than that, man, they were dead.
Cody Snyder with a 5. Do we get a Mania roundtable with Drew added this year? Drew BC's interaction would be interesting. No, Drew and I are going to be doing a TNT live from a podcast studio WrestleMania weekend in Philadelphia in person. So,
me and JD are going to be in Philly, and we're going to WrestleMania.
I'm doing all the WrestleMania festivities this year. I'm going to do that. We're doing that. I'm going to Wale Mania. I'm going to be in and around with a fucking cold beverage in my hand. I'm enjoying myself until I actually got to get to work on Saturday.
You're going to Wale Mania?
Yeah. I want to attend it. Yeah.
I'll be there.
Gerald Davis with a 5. This would be a good opportunity to team him with Maven, being he once wrestled for the company and he's on social media, or Matt Cardona as an angle. Who are you talking about? Maven? Why do we want Maven back in the WWE? He's probably making more money on fucking YouTube than anything he's doing right now. Shell John with 13 months. What's up, JD Drew? I will be attending the Royal Rumble this Saturday. First ever PLE. Can't wait. Well, you picked one hell of a show to go to.
I was supposed to be there, but I'm going to sit back and enjoy the show with my son and a bunch of my buddies and have some cold beverages, but the Vince news didn't drop. I would have been there too, man.
Yeah. David Singfield with a $5 super chat. Do you think Kevin Dunn knows why? What? Do you think Kevin Dunn knew why or knew this was coming and that's why he retired? Yeah, Kevin Dunn probably knew what was going on. And I think part of the reason why he retired was what happened today. Yes. Eclipse Mega Show with a 5. No message. Thank you, brother. Nathan, 5. Hey, JD Drew, love what you do. I'm glad I caught you guys today on this emergency stream. Thanks for always giving us the facts.
It's our job.
Thank you, Nathan. Hollywood Guy with a 10. JD or Drew, did both of you guys enjoy the match between Brett and Owen? Hart versus Hart match. Oh, and Tony has more dirt now, and he won't stay silent. Well, Tony's not going to say anything. Tony knows how fucking disgusting this is. There's no reason why he needs to go on this. And yes, Brett versus Owen at WrestleMania 10 is one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time.
The 94 cage match was better.
You think so? Yeah, I can't argue. I love that match too. Daylin with a 15 months. Thank you, Daylin. Nathan with a 5. Also wanted to let you and Drew know that WWE removed Vince from the active Raw and SmackDown roster.
You don't say.
Not shocked. Brutta with a 5. Is the Netflix deal in jeopardy?
No.
Also, Lesnar was named not on the 67-page report, but he was by the Wall Street Journal. Dunn, Bruce, Triple H, all new, in my opinion. Good show. Is the Netflix deal in jeopardy? Drew said no, it's not. The documentary, I know a lot of people were thinking it was going to be a fluff piece. I don't think it's going to be a fluff piece anymore.
No, now that this is out, I mean, you might get those damning interviews and details and everything else like that. But I also want to let everyone know that, I didn't get to really touch on this on Tuesday, but Netflix is not just a streaming company. They're a production company. So, again, buckle up. There's going to be a lot of different things from WWE that they are able to produce that you have never seen before.
Cake with a $5 super chat. The industry needs to be better to women. Between this and TK answering the question about women's safety in a wig, it's getting tiring. F. Kevin Dunn. Yes, I think we're in a much better place as far as that's concerned, Cake. But, I mean, this has been happening for years with Vince McMahon. Nobody's really surprised. But I agree with you. The industry needs to be better to women.
Oh, 100%. But again, like you wanting to have these figureheads stand up there and talk about it, like legally they can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a cheap answer. There's lawsuits. So, and there's somebody in here, J.A. Universal. Brother, donate $1 and I'll answer your question. You've asked it like 9 times. But, I mean, there's people donating money. I would love to answer your question, but donate $1. We'll answer it.
Mo Styles with a $5 super chat. I'm wondering what is going through Soraya's mind after all this news broke. I mean, Nobody's going to say anything, man. Everybody's going to remain quiet.
No.
John 10 with a 2. Rock is going to return after the 4-way. Punk wins the Royal Rumble. I don't know. You think Rock's going to be at the Rumble?
I think there's a high possibility, but again, if Cody wins, you said Punk wins the Rumble?
John 10 says Punk wins the Rumble.
Okay. Yeah, then I mean that would make sense. But then you could almost guarantee that Cody's not sniffing that Universal Championship.
Nasty Mandy with a new membership. Thank you, Nasty Mandy. Brother with a 2. China accused Triple H of some very heinous things. Okay.
Well, okay.
Here we are. Cliff Goat with 18 months. Good show, guys. Tonight is a good night for Pho, Destiny 2, and TNT. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Pho.
Love me some good Pho.
Cheval, my brother, what's going on, man? New membership. Thank you, man. Sue with a $5 super chat. JD Drew, you guys are the best. I'm so freaking proud of you. Thanks for the updates and all the hard work you do to tell your kitty hello. OTS for life. Peace out. Thank you, Sue. Eclipse with a 5. Told you a few times here and on X that TNT on Thursdays was better. I deserve to be unblocked on X. JD fan since 2016. Still love you. Drew is great. Eclipse, you're gonna have to send me your @ brother. I gotta unblock you.
That's
Sorry.
awesome. That is awesome.
JD exposed. Thanks. Jericho 8131 with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Jericho. Cody's story will be night 1 at Mania against Jinder Mahal in a Fight for America match. Book it. But seriously, I need a cold shower after reading those texts, and to think fans used to bow to Vince on TV. Satan in the flesh. Absolutely. Personification of evil is Vince.
Yeah, it seems like Fightful's picking up on the Lesnar stuff that we reported at the top of the hour, or top of the show. Brock Lesnar was scheduled to be in the Rumble.
Huh. Nice. Wonder how that's going to change. Zero Kaiba, and I wonder if it's going to have an effect on his WrestleMania match. Zero Kaiba with 21 months. These Vince allegations are insane, but not shocking. I got a question for you guys regarding the Rumble. Do we see Andrade? Thank you, JD and Drew. Absolutely.
I think Andrade's in the Rumble. I think you could see Sean Waltman in the Rumble.
Yep.
We'll have to wait and see.
I think we see... I'm going out on a limb and saying I think we see AJ Lee in the Rumble.
I would love that.
Rusty Wagner with a 27 months. JD, my mother was in the ICU. She passed away a couple weeks ago. Your pod gave me something to help deal with the reality. Thank you. Rusty, I'm sorry to hear that, man. And I am very fortunate that you guys stick with me through those difficult times and find solace in the podcast. And I'm sure Drew thinks the same way, man. Thank you for joining us and leaving it up to us to help comfort you. Thank you so much.
That's an unfortunate circumstance in time for you. If we can provide you and JD can provide you with any sort of escape, I think that's awesome. That's what professional wrestling and sports entertainment is all about.
Gerald Davis with a 5. JD, I was referring to adding color commentary replacing Kevin Patrick. Oh, Maven for color commentary? No. I think Corey Graves and Wade Barrett do excellent in their own right. Mm-hmm. Juan Lopez with a 2. Vince did say he wanted to murder his stepfather. Well, Vince is a psychopath. After what we read today, I mean, he's just mentally deranged. Gig Worker, $10.99, $2 super chat. What's up, JD Drew? JD to replace Kevin Patrick? No, I will not work for WWE in a commentary position. No.
Careful. Okay.
What? Why?
They called you and offered you money. You're not going to go work for them in a commentary position?
Yeah, I'd go work. Yeah. What the fuck they want me for though?
Okay.
The fuck they want me for? They don't want
Hey,
me.
you never know.
They want anything to do with me.
That's not true.
Summer history with a $10 super chat. Me and Trey are going to the AEW Dynamite show in New Orleans, front row. We got a sign for you, Jay. Look out for it. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, man. And then Summer history becomes a new member. We got 8 new members tonight. You guys killed it with the super chats. You guys need 24 more likes for 2,000, and we had 6,000 plus in here on a Thursday night, man. Needless to say, I think you guys love TNT.
Let's go.
All right, man, that's all we got. I'm going to leave you with the closing statement here after such a vigorous attempt at trying to dissect all this fucking garbage tonight with Vince McMahon. I'll leave you with the parting words before we get out of here.
Treat people the way you want to be treated. No means no. Respect each other's boundaries. And remember that you always treat people with respect unless they give you a reason not to. This stuff that came out today was absolutely horrific. I'm not excusing anybody, but man, oh man, just be a decent human. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. Love each other. Be nice. Enjoy what you've built. Don't abuse your power. And just be good. Be good humans. There's people watching that look up to you. Come on.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you guys very much, man. I am blown away with the level of support you guys continue to show us and the channel. Overall, it's going to be a big week for the Royal Rumble. Drew and I will be live on Saturday afternoon on X exclusively. So make sure you guys go and check us out there. I will be live tweeting it, and I will post it on YouTube in the community section. I will be live Friday night for SmackDown, and then I will be live for the Royal Rumble on Saturday night, and then we will just take it from there. Thank you guys very much for all your support on today's emergency episode of TNT. Drew and I will see you live Saturday afternoon, and then back to normal scheduled programming on Tuesday next week with episode 33 right here on TNT, guys. Have a good night.